Seahawks Nest live stream show. My name is Brandon Kane, and I do appreciate you as ever for tuning on in this fine Thursday afternoon. We got some Thursday night football due on tap tonight. Be back around with a little bit of B&B show, but today we're going to play detective a little bit. All right, so I want you to go get your fedora hat. I want you to put on your shoulder holster, because we're about to get to work here. There is some people out there in the Seahawks fandom a little bit worried. It's been a good start to the season, but some are looking at Jaxon Smith's lack of production, Jaxon Smith-Njigba, his lack of production, and they're wondering why. Why isn't he being better? He was so awesome at camp. He's a first-round pick, 20th overall. How come he's not producing more? Why isn't he getting more catches? And I wanted to do this show today because this is something that's really existing kind of too loudly, I think, a little bit in the fan base as it stands right now. And so we're going to get on the case today. We're going to unshuffle this one a little bit. We're going to figure out what is what and maybe kind of try to maybe see if we can potentially pinpoint in what the reason is. I want to show you a couple of quick things off the top, but this is really going to be mainly a deep dive into some of the cut-ups of, the all-22 shots where you're back behind and you can look down and see the whole field, those shots where you can't see it when you're trying to run it from a perspective of just the television copy. So we're going to look at a little bit of that, but I want to present a couple of stats here off the top that I think are very interesting on this, and I think already start to tell a little bit of a story before we actually get into the tape itself. The first one's going to be a tweet here from Josh Norris this past week, so shout out to him for this. Some good data within this. He says, if you're waiting for Jaxon Smith to break out, a number of hurdles stand in his way. Number one, Seahawks are only in 11 personnel 56.6% of the time. And just again, to make sure we're clear on this, he's going to reference 3 personnel points here in this tweet. First, 11 personnel. That's going to be for folks to try to make it simplified. That's 3 wide receiver looks. So when you have 3 wide receivers on the field, that would be 11 personnel, or when you would see Jaxon Smith on the field. That's the personnel grouping he has to be on there because any one given time, you've got DK and Tyler on the outside. So it has to be an 11 personnel for him to get out onto the football field. He's going to be referencing 12 and 13 personnel as well. That's going to be 2 tight ends and 3 tight end sets respectively. So when you hear those referenced, that's what that means in this. So I'll read it through once, then we'll break it down. So number one, Seahawks are only in 11 personnel 56.6% of the time, which is not a high route. Number two, their multiple tight end packages have been outstanding in the run and in the pass, which I would agree with him on that. Their 10th highest rate of 12 personnel in the NFL. So that's 10th in the entire NFL in 2 tight end usage. Their 13 personnel or 3 tight end looks is the 6th highest rate in the entire NFL. And he puts a perspective post by in week 5, maybe there'll be some production there. But some interesting bits of data here. So it's matching to what we kind of thought coming into this, which is that the Hawks are running a lot of 2 and 3 tight end sets. Are they doing this just because those sets are being effective and producing both in the run game and the pass? No. It's a good thing that they're doing that. And certainly this is the part of the offense they've created. It is an offense that if it has to lean to the tight ends, it can still be productive within that. It's not just, we have 3 tight ends, but then the offense becomes non-functional. That's not the case of what's happening here. We know that we compare this data a little bit with what we understand about the tackle situation, right? Because our backup tackles are out. And when your backup tackles are out, you're going to want to have more tight ends on the football field or running backs to help with those chip blocks, one of the two. In this case, Seattle has chosen, I think, to lean more to the 2 and 3 tight end sets to get that help in blocking. And so that does then directly remove, when you go to 12 and 13 personnel, you're not going to be in 12 and 13 personnel with Jaxon on the field. He's going to be on the field only in 11 personnel or when you go to 4 wide. So this right out the gate explains a little bit on that. And we can see in Seattle, it's not that it's Jaxon not's good, Jackson's not playing well. It's that you can't literally go to the 3 wide receiver sets, lose the chip block, and then not have the pass protection hold up that you need to hold up in order to be able to feature Jaxon. That's how that does kind of work together a little bit. Because if you bring him out and go no tight ends, now those tackles are on that island. And they're likely to not look quite as good as they've looked so far because we have provided them that help. The other stat that I want to show you is this one. This is from Next Generation Stats. We referenced this last week. This is an update to those stats. And what you see with this is you can see right here, Jaxon Smith is at the bottom of this current list. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10. So we got 11, but we do have on this list like 5 tight ends. So he's sitting right now, as far as wide receivers go, something like 6th or so in the NFL as far as yards of separation per route run. So let's look at this and understand then from that, he's getting separation. To some, you got to be at least to a marginal degree to get up here. Maybe some of this is of certainly being a slot and having certain routes that are going to create those separation points naturally, which I'm sure we'll see here on the tape as I break that down a little bit. But nonetheless, take out these tight ends of the group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess it's 6 tight ends, so technically like 5th here in the NFL. In the one on the right-hand column there, that 4.2 number, which is the separation, yards of separation per route. And he is 4th in the league of any other wide receiver in this sport. Now, you see a guy like Elijah Moore on there, certainly another slot. So that, this does add up. Rondale Moore, slot. Curtis Samuel, slot. So it's either tight ends or slot that are creating this kind of separation. I'll acknowledge that. But nonetheless, it's not like he's not running good routes. He's not getting open. He is getting open, is what this data does say. And when you look at his target numbers, being that he is, I think, only been 14, I think, targets total, 8 catches. He's not been thrown a lot at. So I don't think that we can then go to the drop factor here and saying, well, it's that he's dropped so many different passes. And again, the tape will go to, I think, show a little bit of this to a degree, but he's just not being targeted. He's not being on the field a lot, is what I'm trying to have you guys take away from these 2 points of data. Okay? He's on the 2 and the 3 tight end sets, don't have him on the field. He is creating separation when he is on the field, but then he's not being targeted when he is then on the field. So that's a little bit of what I want to try if we can on this just opening here, and then let's start getting right on in here to the tape. Let's start looking through these. We're going to bounce through these because I got a lot of them. As I want to do here, when I try to build a case for you guys, try to give as much of the cut-ups I kind of give you to sort of go, okay, so now it should be pretty certain I didn't just cherry pick these or pull this from one game and ignore this whole game over here that was bad. We're trying to kind of give you a good full feel of this. But at the same point in time, I'm not going to linger for a long time because I think most of these are going to tell pretty quickly the tale as to what's going on here with Jaxon. So let's look at this first one here. And you're going to get Jaxon in the bottom right. It's going to be the bottom of your screen. Makes a little catch here on an under route. This is exactly kind of what you want him to do, especially third down situations. As you can see the sticks there. I'll slow it down just a little bit here at the start so you can kind of see this. Again, you're going to have him now second from the bottom of your screen. He's going to go in and find just the hole in the zone here. Cuts off his route just a little bit to get open. Nothing amazingly done here. This is exactly the kind of route you'd think is going to be open for him often. Nice little catch here with the Rams. He had a couple catches in this opening game. Gets underneath, makes the catch, goes and gets the first down. This is what we thought we were going to get a lot of, but we haven't quite gotten to that spot. But it's coming, in my opinion. It's coming. All right. Here, we've got Geno looking to target DK. So, Geno scrambles out of the pocket. He's going to look for that big targeted DK, right? No doubt about that. Here you're going to have Jaxon, again, second from bottom of your screen. And we'll run it slow here so you can see it. So we've got him second to the bottom of the screen. Good release there. He's up. He's coming. He's going to just basically get right up the seam. He's trying to get behind the 2 linebackers. 2 safeties close in on him. Geno sees the 2 safeties closing in. As you see to the back to, not Tyler, but the top side receiver there, I think that might be Bobo, is actually being freed up. So the safeties close down on this coverage. This is why Geno then ends up leaving the outside of the pocket. But watch the safeties close down. We'll restart this again. What I want you to watch is the safeties close down because this is what Geno sees as he's looking and going through his progression to Jaxon on this play. Is the safeties, rather than playing a cover 2 or a single high, watch the smush. Here comes the smush. Both take steps towards Jaxon Smith. I don't know if it's a blown coverage to agree by Rams where somebody was supposed to get over the top, but Geno doesn't like, I don't think if that is indeed, I think Bobo on top. He doesn't like going that way. He rolls out. Nothing Jaxon can do on this. A couple of these routes you're going to see on this is just what happens here in respect of, he just kind of gets going into the teeth of the coverage. Here we've got Jaxon on a play where they're looking to target him here. This is going to be a little out route. and Geno Smith just gets mollywopped on this play. There's instant pressure, unblocked defender. Geno just throws this ball away. But it's sort of like this is the bad luck style of some of the snaps Jackson's had, where it's even on plays you might have him start to look to get targeted. He's not. He's also got a defender right there in the hip pocket on this play. I don't know if there was a lot there, to be had anyway. Another Geno miss here to a degree to me on this one. We'll see what you guys think in the chat here. It's not a bad miss, and I don't think Geno's played bad in any of the stuff. It's just this is one where if you're looking at Jaxon Smith, he's going to be in the slot, top of your screen, and he's going to again kind of run, I guess, a post route from that seam. And if Geno lets that throw happen as he makes the break to the back corner of the end zone, he might be open because I don't think the defender's coming off of DK Metcalf here. So watch it to the back. It's to your back right corner. You're going to watch this play flow to. And watch as he breaks open, right about there. As Geno, and Geno just doesn't pull the trigger. It's not a wide open play. It's not bare naked open. But if Geno throws that to the back right corner of the end zone, does Jackson have a chance at that play? Maybe. Is Jackson running a pretty solid route here? Yeah, look, avoids contact there, dip of the shoulders to get off the line, make sure he doesn't get thrown off of his deal. Geno's under a little bit of pressure here too. I think that probably impacts this play just a little bit because it's certainly going to throw your timing off there. All right, here's another play where I think he does relatively break open. He just happens to not be the guy that they decide they're going to go to on this play. So you've got him at the bottom of your screen. He's on the outside here. DK on his inside shoulder. They're all going to run little stop short routes. He's running a little bit of an out route. Corner looks like he's in cover 3 here. Out routes there. Geno likes his shot into DK better. Can't blame him. Quicker, shorter, easier route there into DK for Geno. Both guys probably technically open, but if you don't have to throw the sideline route and you can hit DK down there, you'll take that option instead, right? DK, a nice little bit of yak after the play. So watch it again here. We'll put it a little faster here. It's not wide open, but it's not a bad run route. It's just that the concept itself tells Geno to go to DK. He's the one that ends up open here. He ends up with a linebacker on him, basically. So it's really just Waldron getting this schemed up for DK as much as anything there. But it's not a bad on JSN. It's not him, with a poor route. Here's a nice little in-out route here, but this is on a DK touchdown. So you got Jackson, bottom of your screen in the slot, second from the bottom of the screen. He's got some separation. He's got the corner reaching for him. He's got the corner stumbling. Watch the corner reach for him and stumble. Dead set giveaway that he's kind of cooked him up here at the start of this route. Whoop, whoop. No, don't go away. Still stumbling. He would have been open, but DK cooked his guy on his route just a little bit more, and it's a touchdown. So I think this play comes back to Jackson as the second read if DK doesn't just absolutely obliterate the cornerback off the line of scrimmage here. But again, Jackson is technically on this play, I would say open, and it's a nice little route that you'd see for a guy running the slot. Quickness, short area burst, 3-cone drill guy. That's what he can do. All right, here's a little bit of some double coverage here. And it's not that they're trying to double him. It's just that he runs into, at this point, for whatever reason, the Rams are on this play, and he ends up with basically 2 guys in his zone. Not a lot he can do here. You got him at the bottom of your screen. He's going to come off the line of scrimmage. Kind of a slow play route because you want what he's waiting for is those first 2 guys to clear the way, right? They're supposed to be clearing the way. And then he comes back into the vacated, this is a flood zone concept, kind of route concept. So he comes back in the vacated space, but as we can see, the safety's driving on this. So he's got the corner and trail. It's open, if not for the fact that the safety makes a really heady, smart play here. He doesn't let the flood zone, what you're trying to do is the flood zone is supposed to run everybody off. And the flood zone, you're thinking it's DK and Tyler, so they're probably going to run everybody off. But watch how DK and Tyler kind of end up, Tyler ends up running kind of right behind him. And so you're just hoping they take the bait here, meaning the Rams just sort of have everybody end up carrying those two guys through this zone. You tell Jaxon, wait, and then break through. Jackson's got some separation there. We can see it right there. Separation. Here comes the safety, though, closing in over the top. Safety just makes a good play. But again, not on Jaxon. And I don't think all defenses are going to play that ball as well there in that given scenario. Just my opinion on it. Here we're going to get JSN opened up on a post route. Geno just doesn't throw it. Full speed one more time. Top of your screen in the slot. Bust wide open. Geno just doesn't toss it. Not wide open, but I would call it open. So top of your screen in the slot. He gets open right there. If Geno throws that again to the back of the end zone, there's not going to be another defender there. Key point here as far as why I think it's at least open for a possible throw is watch the safety. Safety over the top plays this to more shallow than he does to depth. He takes the tight end. So he's not going to flip his hips and get back on the throw. So watch that single high safety again here. You don't need a lot of separation if that single high safety comes down because there's not another one back there. So see how that safety takes the tight end cheese? Bam, Jaxon is technically there and open. Now, what's happening with Geno? As we've seen on a couple of these times with him, well, Rams have got a bit of a pressure look here. Geno doesn't have a long time for those long developing routes to go. But once again, we come back to Jaxon is getting open. Jaxon is doing just fine. JSN against the Rams here again. We've got, told you guys we're going to get a lot of clips here going. Again, little short pass concepts going. Jackson's going to be at the top of your screen. He's going to run another little sort of post route to the top side of this. Geno just makes the determination that he's going to come down here to DJ Dallas on a little stop route at the bottom of your screen. But you can see Jaxon at the top of your screen. Again, separation on the route. I mean, if it may not look like an incredible route, but watch where it is from a leverage standpoint at the end of the day. Let me run it slowly. And that is that your leverage is he's got inside leverage on him and he has some separation. That's why I'm saying on this, it's not a wide open, he's just totally cooked up a guy in the route, but there is separation on this point. And the safeties, like we've seen a couple places, some of it's told you by what the safeties are doing. So we've got the free safety going down there. He's really locked in on DK. No shocker there. The other safety is clearing to the middle of the field. See that? See how the other safety is going to the middle of the field there? And now Jackson's open top side, middle of the field. If Geno were to throw that with leverage to the inside, rather than throw it far, you throw it inside. You feel your leverage with the receiver a little bit on that throw. You can throw him open a little bit there. And for instance, Drew Lock did this very same thing with JSN in the first Viking game. Remember, JSN ran the crosser route, and then they brought it with a little bit more. Instead of on that one bringing it more shallow, they took it to more depth. So it was a crosser that was supposed to go like this, but you ended up taking it like that in that Viking game, and that was kind of a read that Locke and JSN kind of made there on the fly, which helped to turn it into I think even more of a bigger play. But another spot where he's open there. By where the coverage is set up and by the route he's running, by the concept that's in play. All right, let's go to the Rams here now. Let's lock in on this one. We're going to get JSN here at the bottom of your screen. So we got the Lions in a cover 3. Seahawks attack that with an out route, which is a nice concept for that. JSN is open. Not a lot of room to work with there. Gets his feet down. It's a nice little run route here from JSN. You don't have a lot of space to work with because if you notice this, they're almost on that near hash. So you don't have a far hash of space to play with to get this out run off. And it's not a super crispy route, but it's a good route. Gets to the spot, gets his feet down, doesn't get lazy with his toe tag, drag, swag. Toe tag, drag, swag. He doesn't get lazy with it, gets the feet down, good catch. Nice little spot there with the Lions here to lead us off. This play is going to be hilarious, and you guys are going to laugh a lot when you get to see this one. This is a little where's Waldo, where's the funny moment in this clip. I'll play it a couple times and see if you guys can see it. It's not going to be Jaxon Smith necessarily, though he does break open on this play once again. I'll give you a hint in a second. I want to play it a couple times, see if you guys can see it. All right, I'm going to play it slow. And I'm going to first tell you about what Jackson's doing here, and then I'm going to tell you about what I think is funny here. He's on the top side of the screen as Jaxon Smith-Njigba here. He's going to run an over route. about 13, 14 yards over route. Lions drop into a cover 2 look here. And so this is, again, a very good route to get after here from a conceptual standpoint. And so you can see here he's breaking in top of your screen. Notice it's now, that's a tight little bubble. There's already a guy running through the middle of this. So it's not that this would be a super easy completion, but again, you can see with Jaxon there, as Geno's throwing that ball, there's a good 3 yards of separation there. Now there's just a lot of other Lions defenders there. Geno's definitely playing within himself at times. And in the Lion games, you see it as well, where I'm going to take a little bit what I can get here. I've got backup tackles. If the play's open, I just got to go and take that play. Even if it maybe is a guy open a little bit with more depth, I've got to be aware of my tackle situation here. And what you'll notice on this play is both of his 2 tackles are matched up one-on-one. So you don't have a chip here because of the blitz the Lions bring. So let's go back, watch the line of scrimmage here. Again, I'm going to show you the funny thing in a second. But watch the line of scrimmage here. Stone, one-on-one. Jake, one-on-one. And then you got Colby picking up the blitzer. So Geno knows that in his internal clock and says, I got to get that ball out of my hand. I can't wait for that, deep or intermediate route to cut in, which needs a little bit more time to develop if it's going to have any kind of success. Now I want to take your guys' attention on this as far as the funny part of this play to the bottom side of your screen and one Mr. Metcalf. Metcalf comes off the line, looks like he might be running a 9 route, and takes the back hand of his shoulder and throws down the cornerback. All right, I'm going to run at full speed for you. It's even funner than that. Oh, wait, that's 200%. Let me get it to 100%. That's too much percent. All right, watch DK again here at the bottom of your screen. He's such a bully. Then he gets up and starts blocking. I don't know. It reminds me of the Zack Snyder Batman movie where he goes in and saves Superman's mom, and there's like a punch move he does at one point where he hits a guy and literally the guy goes face first into the floor because he hits him so hard. It's kind of reminded me of that with DK. It just made me laugh. He starts blocking. DK is so mean, dude. I love it. I do love it. I know some of you guys don't like that about him, but I just, okay, yeah, it's a bit much, but come on. It's football. All right, here we go. We got Jaxon on an out-breaking route here, wide open. So he's going to be top of your screen. You're going to see him from the slot there. And Tyler is going to come inside. He's going to go outside. And you're going to see that he does indeed get open. Kind of comes to a stop there. Corner doesn't get a feel for him. Corner gets pulled inside. This is broken coverage. I mean, he's wide open here. If Geno throws this is probably a touchdown. Geno goes, of course, to DK, which almost gets a touchdown over there. As we've seen on a couple of these cut-ups now, DK is having the ball go his way, but you're finding success in that. So we might have him open. We might have Geno not targeting him, but we often find it to be Geno going to a guy like DK here because Geno sees off the line of scrimmage that he's got DK with basically single coverage, and the safety's so far away he can't provide enough help on the post route DK is running to get over there and help him. Right? So so Geno's informed correctly here. Him not going to that open read on that side is correct because he's coming up at the line of scrimmage going, wait, look where that safety is. Look where the nearest safety is to DK on this play. Far hash. He's got to get all the way back over there to get to DK on a post route. It's a lot of space to clear, especially because he's not able to just run as fast as he can post snap to get over there. And of course, he's late. He still ended up hurting DK's rib, of course, but it does speak to why Geno made that read, and it was a smart read. But JSN was open on that play. All right, we got him here in a little bit of a flat route concept here. Love this concept just to get the guy with the ball in space. Doesn't do a lot with it, does JSN here, but you'll see some more of these plays as the year goes along. You'll be able to manufacture some production for him as the year goes along. And there's a good chance at times you'll have that defender try to go to depth because that's what you're hoping happens here with the linebacker, gets sucked in too much with the running back or gets pulled to depth then with a guy like Tyler there coming up the outside. Let's run it slow. Sorry, let me run it slow. So you got the play action to bring the linebackers in. And what you're hoping happens here is that 55 pulls and stays sucked in, that he doesn't get as quickly back out. He did a very good job of playing this, did he, to react to that as quickly as he did. But that's why this play doesn't go for more. Still a nice little concept because you're working that post-snap motion off of the play action, And that's where if the defender, let's just target in here for a second here if you can for me on the 55 there, that middle linebacker in the center of your screen. If he gets sucked in and pulled with those corners and the safeties drop into cover 2, now you can see if Jackson's over there with no 55 or that 55 just a little too late, there's going to be a lot of space to work with, and it's going to be a big play. It's not going to hit a home run, but you might hit a solid double off that one. All right, Seahawks have tried a couple bubble screens. They've tried a tunnel screen here with them at times too. Hasn't worked really well. People often ask me, why don't our screenplays work? Why is it that when we run a screen, it just doesn't ever seem to work, whether we run a screen or a bubble screen? How come it doesn't work? And I've oftentimes pointed to something for you guys, and what's good here is that we actually get a little bit of proof as to what that thing is. First, we got Jaxon slot right inside of Colby, outside of Colby Parkinson's shoulder there. Parkinson comes out to lay his block, and you've then got the linebacker freed up here. This is really a play that's not kind of going to get anywhere, but notice Damian Lewis in the trail position here. And that's really where Damian Lewis's guy is the guy that ends up coming up to make the tackle here, and is only. So let's go again here really quick. I'm going to go a little bit faster so it doesn't so slow. But let's watch this again now. Watch Damian Lewis here on this play. He's the guy that's got to get in space. Why do mobile offensive linemen matter? Why is it an important thing in this modern age? Well, Damian Lewis is not particularly very mobile. Look how far away he is from even getting to that block. No chance you're going to get there with this. And it's good recognition and read by the linebacker there, but it's also just if you have a lineman that can't get out in space to block, it's just a play you might as well almost not call because it's just not going to happen. Another bubble screen here. Let's get over to the Panther game now. This one had a little more to it. Lineman Stone Forsythe getting out there. Your guard still doesn't get out there. McClendon Curtis is in the game at this point. 76, you can see he's just out there he's just looking active, you know. He's not getting a lot done, but he's getting out there and moving. McClendon can move a little bit. I'll give him that. But nice job by Evan Brown too. Stays stuck on his guy well. Everybody does a good job here on the back end of things. DK gets his block put nicely. Real nice block by DK here. Not a fancy play, but they've used him a couple times on these. You'll be able to feature this in a little bit more. Again, back to manufactured production on top of just getting open, generally speaking. Again, here we're going to have back at the Panthers game, another one here where he's going to get open. Another one here where I believe that Geno is going to have relatively quick pressure. And so this is going to push this situation to be decided very quickly. So you got top of your screen, stacked look there with Tyler and JSN. JSN running an out route there. If you watch here, top of your screen, it does look like it's going to be open because some of this is also, though, driven by how fast Geno throws this. And you can see internal pressure on Geno by Derek Brown. Look how fast Derek Brown whoops Evan Brown. That's Brown on Brown crime right there. And that's what makes this play not go. There's a lot of these kind of plays in this Carolina game at times with Geno where you have Jackson kind of open, but then it's just there's pressure in his face. He's got to do something else. He's got to make kind of a difference. He's got to make a quick call. For instance, again, like this. Relatively quick pressure here. Stone Forsythe gets kind of beat fast. Let's take a look at JSN on this play. He's going to be back. I know it's going to look similar to last one where it's a stacked look here with those two guys. JSN comes off the line of scrimmage. I believe this is a little bit later in the game. So you love this concept with Waldron because before you had him going out, now you've got him kind of coming inside. Multiple defenders in there. He's got to clear through the traffic to get upfield. By the time that happens, the pressure is back on Geno. So just look, he's wide open there, middle of your screen, right? He cleared through the linebacker traffic, but the pressure is there too fast. Stone just gets beat. I think this is a Brian Burns play, if I'm not mistaken. Let's run a little bit faster here. Nope, that's not Brian Burns. That's Justin Houston. DJ Dallas misses his chip. See, it's little things offensively, folks, that make a play go bad. This play goes bad. You might be able to hit this with Jaxon Smith if DJ Dallas hits that chip. But see how he misses it? He gets nothing on that chip at all. And then by his missing that chip, there's direct pressure back there, and you miss Jaxon Smith open in the middle of the field. Lock in again. Jackson's going to be top of the screen. He's going to be in a stack look there with Tyler Lockett. Lockett in front of him trailing. He's got to clear through the 2 linebackers. Boom. He's cleared. He's open. But we go back to it. Draw your eyes back to the line of scrimmage here when I restart this. Look at DJ Dallas. Watch DJ Dallas on the chip. Misses the chip. See, there's nothing. He gets nothing on that guy. He's got to be that guy to push that guy back inside for Stone Forsythe on that block. And you can't even knock Stone there because Stone knows he's getting chip help. So it's a technique thing where Stone's making sure he's cleared up to the inside. So, right, he's going to not let this guy cross his face. For as the play begins, my job is to make sure we're routing him into the chip. Chip pushes him back to center on me, buys us some time, and then I'm on my own from that point forward. But DJ comes through and sort of ghost whiffs him through on the chip, makes the whole thing fail. Jaxon Smith would have been open for a 15, 20-yard gain. None of this comes back to Jaxon Smith-Njigba not being good enough or an NFL receiver or being able to be even a difference maker at the position. We come back to other factors here time and time again as we look in this tape. Here we've got a Jaxon Smith flat route wide open. And instead, we get a DK throw in the back of the end zone that's a poorly thrown ball by Geno Smith. So look at him right there. Panthers dropping off coverage. So we'll run it slowly. You're going to get Jaxon Smith running in. He's going to be running in a motion here across the screen. He runs out to the flat. Look at your 2 defenders for Carolina, top of your screen. They're kind of dropping to depth still. So you throw this out, probably only about a 5, 6, 7-yard gain. But Geno thinks he's got singled up coverage down here at DK, which he does. And this is where Geno needs as an improvement point this year. This is a big spot of where I would point to with Geno so far in a couple of these throws. He's had about 3 or 4 of them. Where Geno, you've got to put this to the back left corner of the end zone here. Give DK an opportunity and a chance. This throw is too much shortened up into the left side of the back left, back to the left side where he's throwing it. Put it in the back left corner. See this? Imagine if he puts that out in front to the back left corner rather than where this ball falls. The ball ends up right halfway into the end zone. Two more yards of difference, and DK's got an opportunity to 2 to 3 more yards of distance, and he's got an opportunity to maybe make a play on that ball. But again, Jackson open in the flat. All right, let's go here. Geno a little late on this particular throw. Over to Jaxon. Jackson's actually getting targeted. So watch it again here in quick speed. Jackson's going to be top of your screen. He's going to be in the slot. He's going to run a little out route. Carolina Panther player drives on it, knocks the ball free. I believe that this is Geno throwing this ball a little late, in my opinion, because it's just a slight little deal. It's just a slight little deal here. But in my opinion, this ball needs to be out right there. And instead, he waits for him to clear the route. Now the ball's out. That's too late. It's a short route, so a defender is going to be driving on this route. Again, to watch it again, Geno's got to, you ideally want to make this throw with Jaxon as soon as he's starting to make that outbreak. He's about 3 steps. 1, 2, 3 steps, 3 full steps into the out route by the time the ball is thrown out wide. And that 3 steps is enough time then for the defender to make a play on the ball. One last time here again. The ball should be out of his hands, and look, he's looking right at him. He ain't going through other reads. Right at him, there. Should be out, should be out, should be out. And he starts his windup late on this one. He wants to see it on this play rather than throw it. And quarterbacks get uncomfortable with out routes because those are the routes that go for pick sixes when they go wrong, and they're not routes that necessarily give you a lot of yardage. You'll get an 8 or 9 yard gain, and you got the risk of a pick six if you don't throw it right. But that's a timing play where Geno's got to put that ball quicker on him once he comes out of that break. You see some quarterbacks that are masters of this, that they throw it before the guy's even gotten out of the break. They can anticipate it so well. Here we got a JSN interception. This was from the last game, and we remember this here. This is where Geno's trying to target JSN in the slot, top of your screen, and he's going to let this ball go. And again, I would say that this is a little bit of a late throw by Geno. It's not a good pass as well, and that Jackson's probably not the read here. This is probably a read where I think you come back to DK Metcalf. DK as your trailing guy underneath would probably be where you would want Geno to go to, or get it to him quicker here before he gets to the coverage. Good play there by the defender, but again, I can't really throw this on Jaxon Smith. How is he supposed to run the route better? He's the first guy off the line of scrimmage. Watch again. He's the first guy of the Hawks that gets off the line of scrimmage. So the quickness is there. Boom. I mean, he's off that line before DK's even started his route. Part of that's purposeful because DK's running behind him. It's a trail concept there. But not on JSN. Just, I think Geno needs to go to a different place or make that read a little bit earlier. All right, JSN, quick read here to DK Metcalf, where he's going to go. This is going to be what makes this play kind of hum and cook. So you've got top of your screen in the slot is Jaxon Smith. The play is going to go to DK. It's a little bit of a longer developing play. You go, ooh, or maybe Jackson's got a little bit of a chance here on this one now to get featured. But we can see that Geno is pretty locked in here, bottom of your screen. I think he's first looking kind of where Fant's at. And the second that he feels Fant gets double covered, just kind of a blown concept there by the Panthers. That's just what Geno's waiting for. I would estimate, because this is such a strange read by Geno here to pick this up. I would estimate that this is Geno film study stuff right here, and knowing the way the Panthers have a tendency to run this kind of concept. But the second he sees those two defenders bear down, he hits DK back over the top. And what this means then, of course, is that there's never an opportunity for Geno to get back to the read over to Jaxon Smith at the top of the screen. The whole play conceptually just stays to one side, which is what a lot of what you're doing here with these tackles, which is keeping the reads to 1-2 reads. Jaxon Smith's not necessarily open on his side of the field either, but there was never a chance even if he was. Another Geno quick throw here. Pressure coming. Got to get the ball out of my hand. Little throw in the flat out to Zach Charbonnet, but this also means that there's then none of a chance for even the route to set up for Jaxon Smith. Jaxon Smith's going to be top of your screen here in the slot. He's going to be running a little bit of that zipper route concept where you come inside, bump, 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 come to a stop, and then you'll go back. You'll come outside, then you'll come to a stop. You'll go back inside. He's just getting ready to do that. He's going to be open as he's running that concept. If Geno actually had the opportunity with the amount of time in the pocket to make that kind of throw. So we can see with Geno on this play, it's both sides of the line basically get whooped quick. And so there's no time for this concept to take form, and he's just got to get out, and he gets whopped. But Jackson would have been open on this play. It would have gone for a nice little gain too, because you can see the Panthers on coverage standpoint are dropping into a pure cover 2, and then they've even got like full quarters coverage here, almost just about where they're just dropping with full depth into their zones. So you would have had a good opportunity there for JSN. Another quick little throw here out to Fant. Again, this one where just Geno's trying to get the ball out of his hands very fast. Really not much of an opportunity for anything else to develop for any of the other receivers on this play, because it's going to go this way. Jackson, top of your screen in the slot. He gets off the line of scrimmage. And once again here, before he's even had a chance to start his route, Geno's throwing this ball. Just no opportunity at all even to be, and there's a lot of these plays. I'm showing you guys a couple of them, but take my word for it. I'm trying to lay this down because I'm trying to lay the case of there's kind of a lot of these plays here through, especially the last couple of games, where you've been trying to keep the offense quick. Don't hold the ball for a long period of time here. Get it out. Another play here that's similar to the play where it was intercepted, and this is why I say on that play I think it should have gone to DK underneath, because on this very play a little bit later on in this game, that's actually just what Geno's going to do rather than try to throw the pick. Same kind of thing we had before, right? Guy makes the move inside to make the pick. Props to Geno here for correcting this, because it does show that I understand that last read wasn't the right one. I got to come to DK there because he was the open guy. Why? Because the clear out works. The route concept works. JSN here runs the coverage off. Look at how many guys end up on JSN or taking steps towards JSN there. And that then frees it up because DK's guy's playing cover 3. He's dropping to depth on this play. The guy covering DK at the top. See him bump, bail technique right there, right? He starts to drive a little bit, I guess. I don't know. Maybe he stays on top, though. He kind of catches himself. The corner plays this weird because he kind of catches himself starting to drive on it like, you got to stay on top. Don't do that. But Jackson clears out those 2 defenders that you see right there. They get cleared out of the play. That opens it up for DK then to do what he does. Jackson does his job. The concept works great by Waldron, but not another item that we can't point to and say, well, that's JSN not getting open. That's JSN not being a good route runner. That's JSN not able to catch the ball. No, it's just that the route concept worked towards DK, and he's going to be featured option 1 in this offense, as well he should. All right, here's a play where we're going to get JSN doubled. And on this one, he is in the slot there, running up the football field. He's not doubled purely here. He just ends up running into kind of double coverage. We got the safety and the corner together. It's not even double coverage. It's just kind of bracket coverage, I guess. I shouldn't call it double coverage. It's bad. Somebody's probably freaking out about some of the terminology I use on this stuff. But it's just that the point being is that he ends up with 2 guys on him, and that's not going to instruct Geno on this play to probably end up throwing his way. You give props to Waldron on some of this. This is where Waldron's running into the teeth of the coverage on this one. Panthers, like we've seen a lot of these teams, still sticking into a lot of cover 2 against the Seattle Seahawks. Still willing to run a lot of that, even down here by the end zone. And that's probably what Waldron was thinking, is like, well, we're down the red zone. They're going to definitely stop running the cover 2 stuff now, right? Maybe not. So no chance. Another snap here where JSN is going to be doubled out of the slot. Feel for the guy a bit. Not a pure double, much like the last one. He ends up going into it. I think he's probably getting a little bit frustrated here. Why? He just goes, part of your stupid coverage. Knocks the guy down on his butt. Ends up back there with a couple of guys next to him there with 2 safeties on the other side. Of course, if you were the quarterback there's nothing about this play that's going to inform you that I should be going to Jaxon. It's just that the route takes him into the teeth of the coverage, but knocks the cornerback down. and then he's there. He's got 2 safeties over the top. What are you going to do? I ask you, what are you going to do in that kind of case? Another one here with JSN doubled in coverage as far as where he ends up. Look at the bracket by the 2 safeties. This looks like almost a replay of what I just showed you a second ago. It is not. Again, Jaxon, bottom of your screen in the slot. Runs a little out, up kind of route there. And then you got the 2 safeties. Look how tight they're squeezed. DK's getting no attention. There's pressure on Geno, who's forced to scramble here on this play. Nothing on JSN. I can't put this on JSN, though. How is JSN to run this route better? How is JSN to do anything better in his job to get open? And then from Geno's standpoint, he's flush from the pocket here. The read wouldn't take him there even if he wasn't flush from the pocket. I mean, it's a kind of those combination of matters here on these kind of plays. And he ends up in that spot where there's just 2 safeties that, for whatever reason, I don't even know. It's strange coverage by the Panthers. Tell me the type of coverage you end up that you guys have ever seen where you got a receiver 20 yards down the field and he's got both safeties squeezing him up. Now they kind of squeeze that up at the end. Especially when you got DK on the field. That one threw me off just a little bit. Another route here where JSN's going to be open and he's at the top of your screen here running a little bit of a delayed route, but this is such a good route concept with what you've got going with Kenneth Walker at the bottom of your screen here. Of course, Kenneth's going to run a 9 route here right up the field on the safety, and he's going to get free because the safety is running short. Kind of just some blown coverage there. Great read by Geno too. Wow, I just watching this kind of again in slow motion. He made that read. Again, like this is where I go back to film study because Geno throws this so fast. He's anticipating this safety sitting down on the tight end route. It's almost like he's anticipating the safety to hand off Kenneth Walker to the safety over the back so that he can jump that route underneath. Because the tight end's still covered by the underneath linebacker there, but he jumps it and Geno throws it so fast. I maybe just Geno saw it so quickly and his reactions on that are so quick. But the point of this being is if you look at JSN to the top side of your screen, there's no chance he's going to get featured on this because this is, look at DK or Geno's head. He's turned to that side. That's where his first reads are. Again, we have JSN kind of breaking open there underneath. I think he would have been opened under a little drag route there, but there's never an opportunity or a chance for Geno to get over there. We've seen sometimes it's the rush, but sometimes he sees it's DK one-on-one. Sometimes it's that the read takes him there because that's where the coverage has been broken and is opened up. It can be kind of a combination of these factors, but JSN is getting open on these plays. Here we got another one, JSN top of your screen. Again, breaks open for a second. Geno just doesn't look his way and ends up scrambling, doing his little Russell Wilson move that he can sometimes do where he pirouettes out the back of the pocket. So top of your screen in the slot is JSN, out route. Guy starts to drive on this, but if it's another one of those routes where if it's thrown quick and Geno does it before he starts to get too far into the route as he gets to the out route part of it, right? If he throws it at just the right time, you can get a couple yards out of this. I think, though, as we look at Geno here in this situation, he's looking more to the left first and not even over to the side. So that by the time he gets back over the side, it's too late. His read had taken him to the left side of the field first and foremost. So that's a good 25, I think, some plays in here, something like that. I hope you guys can get kind of a feel for the fact that he is getting open at times. Other times he's just gotten the bad luck of running into the coverage. Other times he's open and he's the first read, but Geno's just under too much quick pressure and he can't get him the ball. They do have some featuring of him in the offense, so it's not a matter of Waldron just completely ignoring him, going, let's just keep him in the back pocket. He's trying at times to put him in and give him little featured spots, the bubble screens or the throws over into the flat routes, right? But some of this just has to kind of align up right. And once you get back your 2 tackles back to full health, once you can run a little bit more of the 5-7 step drops, a little bit more, surely, and get more guys out into their route concepts like your running backs with less of the chipping and feeling like they have to help out on those blocks, the more now his role will start to grow and you will see him utilized. No doubt the kid wants it. No doubt the kid is, feeling, I'm sure, a certain kind of way about this situation. And Geno saw this, I think, as well in this past game. Many of you guys have probably seen this cut up, but let me put this little video out that I think is an awesome little video that tells us a couple of little different things about the situation.
Hey, I need you. I need you in the second half. I need you locked in. Hey, look, whatever happened, it's on me. It ain't never on you. And you got to get the ball, so I got to find you, all right? But I need you to give me your best this second half, all right? Come on. Oh, hey, let's go. You the best. Let's go. Come on.
So I love this moment from Geno, first off, because this is after Geno's just thrown his interception in the game that I showed you guys in the cut-ups. And a lot of quarterbacks, as we've seen, get up into their feelings when they throw interceptions. And we've seen a lot of quarterbacks in this league that don't want to take responsibility when even it is kind of on their responsibility, the interception. I showed you on the tape. I think it does go more. It is absolutely on Geno there. And what I love about him doing that there is whether it's on Geno or not, doesn't often matter in that situation. Making sure this guy, if you want to be a leader, making sure this guy isn't taking it to heart too much. And that's the thing about JSN is I think he cares a lot. This kid came back off of that surgery with that arm, and he came back really fast off of that. He didn't miss any time off the back of that. He wanted to get on that football field in his first year. He wanted to get running. And I think that he is a guy that does care. And again, just another, if we're talking about trying to build a case here, another step in this part is that we have a guy that cares, a guy that wants it, a guy that is doing his best and trying his hardest. And it's a matter of time with these kind of guys that are really talented when they do have this kind of work ethic and when they do care this much. And I think Geno recognized that he had a guy in his rookie year kind of maybe getting a little bit down on himself in that moment. And let me not only now raise this guy's spirit, let me raise this guy's spirit at the cost of me taking, ownership on something that maybe is partly my problem or partly for me to blame, maybe wholly for me to blame. But a great moment of leadership from Geno there in that moment, a real moment of leadership. And one of the things that we've looked at with Geno as he's ascended here is not just how well he's played the game, but how well he's done as being a leader. And that part has been consistent all the way through. And I think that's going to be a big moment here. A little helpful, but a big moment there for JSN through this year. Just be patient. We got you. We're coming back around you. Stay where you're at. You're going the right angle. You're on the right path. It's going to be just a matter of time. It's just there's factors that come into play that determine this production at times. It's not just solely on being a really good slot and always just getting open. There's other things that come into play. But I love the moment there from Geno coming over there, consoling, letting him know, again, it's not coming out after a point where JSN's just had a fumble. It's coming to a point where you as a quarterback is just throwing an interception. And these guys don't tend to just go right back over and go, hey, it's just on me. It's absolutely on me. Great leadership by Geno. Absolutely proper and great leadership by him. Do me a favor, folks, if you do like what you're listening to today, hit that like button. I would appreciate it very, 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 very much. I want to also thank as well the sponsor of the show today, which is going to be Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy has got a cool ongoing thing through October 4th here now where on top of normally using my code with TheSeahawksNest and getting $100 matched on your first deposit on Underdog Fantasy, right now they're actually letting you you can get matched up to $500. up through, I think it's October 4th or so. So limitations do apply, but they're actually even going to be matching even more so here for a next select period of time. We'll be going through my picks here this week. I've got a little ones I'm running. I'll try to send that to you guys here before we end the show off today. But I do want to thank Underdog for sponsoring the show throughout this year as they are. And you can click my link in the description or use my code NEST when you go to the site. They'll match you up to 100% up to $100 or up to $500 here through the 4th. Please do again, hit that like button, guys, if you like what you're listening to. Sub on up if not as well. I appreciate you guys watching here on a very fine Thursday afternoon. We're going to go for a little bit of time here today, probably not as long as the normal show. I've got, we're going to be doing a members show for Thursday Night Football, and then I've got a B&B show later on with Brendan today, so we got 3 streams going, so it'll be a little bit shorter today on this one, but I do appreciate you guys jumping in. John Holland, the reasons for JSN not putting up great numbers is that it takes time building a connection with your quarterback, plus he is playing behind 2 of the best receivers that have a lot more time than with Geno. Great point. And I think that that's a valid one to be made. Quite a valid one to be made. Devo says he's going off Monday. I love it, man. Free truth. Hello, Seahawks Gaming. What have the Raiders franchise done to players like Chandler Jones and Antonio Brown? Whew. I don't know, man. Do they like lock you in a dungeon when you first get there? It's like, this is the Raider way. That was a wild Chandler Jones clip today. That was a wild, I don't know what to even make of it. I don't even know what to say. Azaban says, I hope they unlock JSN on Monday Night Football. Me too, man. I think it's coming. I think it is coming. We might have to wait till after the bye once we get the true tackles both back and rolling. I think Cross does come back this week, but I think having both those guys back to kind of close to near health would, I think, help his situation. Motive says, go Brandon, go Hawks. Go Hawks, man. Jose Garcia, what's up, Brandon? What's up, Jose? How you doing? Fan since 92 says, see? Oh. Ryan, I think I legit think that it's mainly a scheme thing. I don't see him doing a lot of crossers and deep stuff and those crafty routes that he's so good at. I think they're trying to use him like they did Eskridge. Maybe a little bit. I think the story of like what I was telling there in some of those clips is it's kind of varied and there's a lot of different reasons with it. I think that you're right about the deep crossers not being used as much. I think that's though as much to do with the fact that you haven't been running as much of the deep passing concepts period outside of the 9 routes where it's back foot, let it rip, Geno, because you don't feel like you got the blockers to get that done. But I think those routes will come back into play once you get those backup tackles here. Nick says Geno isn't seeing when people are open and has scary passes throughout the first games. I mean, there's a couple of scary passes in there. He's not throwing, I don't think, a lot of interceptions necessarily. So, I mean, he's being pretty smart with the ball, and I think we got to give Geno a little bit of, I mean, he's got 1 interception through 3 games. I think every quarterback over the course of the game is going to have a couple of throws they make that, probably get you a little worried. The other thing we got to give Geno a little bit, I think, a room with on this is that he has 2 backup tackles. He played the whole last game without a 3rd offensive lineman and another rookie out there. I think it makes the position of quarterbacking a little bit hard when you got that you're going up against a bit. And he still managed to throw for 300 yards the past couple weeks. Mitchell's at least when he was targeted, he came down with the ball. Agreed, man. I think he's been fine. Glizzy says he will produce this week. Giants blitz a ton, and JSN will find himself open a handful of times. Great point, man. Giants do love to blitz, and that may be a place that opens it up there for JSN to flourish a little bit more. Don says the Hawks Nest. Hello, Brandon and all. If you're celebrating like I am Star Trek Next Generation Day, I hope everyone is well. And on this day before the launch, Power Rangers Cosmic Fury. Nice. Happy Star Trek Day, man. I think I watched Star Trek, the updated new movie the other night. O'Dwyer, I hope they target him in the middle of the field more once Cross and Lucas are back. I think they will. Garth, thank you for the $10 donation, Garth. It's good to see you in the chat too, brother. Says, I like Brendan's take that the JSN negativity is all fantasy football related. Frankly, I never saw any wheels on the kid, but I also followed Russ to oblivion in Denver. Well, thank you for the $10 donation. And yeah, that was a good point by Brendan the other night in pointing out that maybe some of this is coming from folks that had JSN in fantasy and were thinking that he was going to be a lot more productive. But yeah, I think the production's going to come. That's going to be the fun part of this, is that it is due to come, you know. Bob Muller, JSN's open, but Geno too slow to throw to him. Let the youngster mature physically and mentally. He's only 21 years old. He is very young. Life above tree line. JSN is many times the third or even fourth read. It's that simple. We aren't designing plays for him. Agreed, man. I think that he, in a lot of these, and especially too, the last 2 games, you're not in a position of, if you have the backup tackles, you're not going through 4 reads as a quarterback. And if you're an offensive coordinator, you're not instructing your quarterback to go through 4 reads in that case. You're saying you got 2 reads to go through, and then you need to probably scramble or get rid of the ball. We can't hope that these tacklers are going to hold, our backup tackles are going to hold on for that long. In a lot of cases, I think. Or he's also, and it's a combination. It's like that, and he's also looking for the other guys a little bit more. Bob Geno doesn't have elite quick progression reads yet, but he's on the correct path. He could become deadly quick and precise and the best in the NFL by the time the playoffs arrive. Better watch out. I like what I've seen from him too, man. Thomas says Geno has even said he needs to get JSN ball involved. I believe the defense hasn't forced Geno to start throwing to JSN, but it's also the fact that Seattle doesn't have their best tackles right now. That's a good point. Jeff Fornall, good, go Hawks, brother. Hope you're doing well. Flick a switch. The field is easy to see 100 feet up with no one in your face trying to blast you. Yeah, I hope I don't seem like Flick of the switch. I was trying to be hard on Geno on this at all. I'm absolutely not. Stuff's going to happen, you know. So I don't think I'm definitely not trying on that get up there to be on Geno in any way with it. Brian Myers of the INT was a great play by the defender. Read his eyes and jumped the route. He did indeed. It was for sure. Simeon Toko says no need to worry about JSN right now. He'll get his opportunities. I agree. So there's some different debates going on in the chat about jump balls and DK. I'm going to let you guys roll with that one. I don't know how we got onto DK and jump balls. We're talking about JSN. Matthew Glennis says, no problem, bro. Thanks for doing what you do, Beat. My pleasure, Matthew. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate everyone watching today. Guard night, what happened to Chandler? Something where the Raiders called like mental health people out to his house, and then he got taken, and then the stories are kind of weird and wild, to be honest with you. I don't know what to make of it, Garth, but then he went on, he had a video today where he went on and he was like talking on the video and he was all calm, and then brought up Aaron Hernandez's name, and then he started like crying on the thing, and it's weird. Swedish Shinobi, comparing him to Brady is kind of dumb take. By Brady's metric, Montana's a bum. Not enough range. Yeah, that's true. It's hard to, if you're going to compare to the best, it does get a bit tough. Val Ramos, Russell will be fired this year. I think Wilson, I think Wilson's improved this year from where he's played recently, but he's still, I don't think, going to be in a place where Peyton believes he can execute his offense. And so I do believe that that's going to mean at the end of the year, they're probably going to post June 1st, designate him for release. If I was a betting man. Hi, kitty. Hi, kitty. Yep. Dabney Offerman says Jason's a beast. He is a beast. And I do agree. I think we need to JSN late in the season, as much as any time. Dabney says, will the Panthers beat the brakes off the Vikings? I don't know, Dabney, because they're going to put Young back out there. I think if Dalton was out there might be a decent chance that they could do that, but it's now back to a little bit more of a 50-50 affair if you're talking about Young, who just hasn't looked very good. Brian asked Brandon, any Kenny McIntosh update? From what I'm looking at and seeing, he comes back after the bye week at this point, Brian. So I think they've just taken a little bit of extra time with the knee. I think they've probably also been a little bit extra careful with it because the 3 running backs you have right now are running and they're all at relatively good health. So I think that's probably informing them a little bit on the aggressiveness they might take on bringing him back faster, quicker, or giving it a little bit more time. Seahawks Gaming says, can K9 give you 500 yards receiving this season? Boy, I'll tell you what, man. Seahawks Gaming, if he keeps catching 9 routes down the sideline, yeah. He's at, he's at 200 yards receiving already now. I mean, Geno's trying to feature him. You can see that Geno's not featuring him, but Geno's trying to use him, utilize him, and go to him. I think 500 yards, that's only 300 away for the rest of the season. That's what you have to average, like 27 yards or something a game to get up there. So I would think so. Yeah. Feed me more Seahawks. We should be able to cook the Giants' sucky secondary. Indeed, it's a little bit lacking. It's a bit lacking back there. That Jackson cornerback didn't impress me at all against the Niner team that didn't even have Brandon Ayuk out there, and he was still just struggling. Debo's still a good receiver, but he didn't do much in that game to impress me. They lost Love this last offseason. As somebody else mentioned, they do like to blitz a lot. There should be some holes in the secondary that we can go out there and we can attack. Geno's just going to have to be on it in his details with the blitz because Wink Martindale is one of the more creative guys you'll find in the fashion. He'll send whoever, whenever. He's the Shakira of defensive coordinators in the NFL. Whenever. Garth Knight with another $5 donation. Thank you, Garth, for the double dono. He says, Denver needs to train JSN. Russ can feed him. Just trolling, Brando. Yeah, that's the key there. Yeah, we could make it work with Judy as our slot. We just got to, let's get JSN in here. He'll be much better. Thank you, though, man. Appreciate you, Garth. Flick of the Switch wasn't referring to your breakdown, Brendan. I was referring to all the armchair quarterbacks in the chat. I feel you, man. All right. No worries. I was thinking maybe not. It's sometimes hard to tell. I try to pair through, on the slot and the things, and I sometimes am like, is that me? Was it? Appreciate you, man. Fleece says trade Brett Eskridge to the Broncos. But yes, if I would I'll take a 6th rounder. I'll take a 7th rounder. Whatever you guys got. The Pepsi machine? Bob says Rams, 49ers, Cowboys, 49ers, Eagles. Going to be quite a tough stretch of games and teams to play for any franchise not named the Chiefs. Yeah, I mean, it'll be a tough stretch. This is why you want to try to give yourself some room at this point in time of where the schedule's at and what you have ahead of you right now as far as the timing to strike, we can work through some of the schedule right now, give us a little bit of room for error, so that if we have a couple of losses through that stretch of games, it's not a death knell to our season or our contending hopes this year. Brian says Shakira. Garth, isn't Shakira in tax trouble? Well, she can call me. I'll solve all those troubles for her. I'll make them all go away. I might know a guy. But yes, I think I've heard that she's not a big fan of. I think they said, Shakira taxes, and she said, no English, no English. I do not. Taxis. What is that? Feed me more, Seahawks. Thank you for the $2 donation. I do appreciate it. It says, did you hear what Deontay Banks said about Metcalf? No. Did he call him a mean man? Let me see. What did he say? He's so mean out there. He's an angry man. Oh, he's talking trash. Oh, this game just got a little more fun. Giants Deontay Banks can't wait to show off superpower against Seahawks DK Metcalf, says the New Jersey Post. What's this noise this kid's talking? What's this noise this kid's talking? What's he popping off about? I just try to be aggressive and use my superpower, which is my physicality, Banks said. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. That's all I got to say to Deontay Banks. You get the better of DK. You can do it by being a little more athletic or quicker in spaces, but I don't know if I've seen a lot of guys out physical DK. So good luck. Good luck. I mean, to that, feed me more Seahawks. You know what I say to that? You want to know what I say to that? I'm going to show you what I'm going to say to that. I'm going to show you. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to show you. Where is it at? Where's my Batman? Where's the Batman? There we go. All I got to say to that is this. Right here. Let's get it nice and close. All I got to say is Deontay Banks, just go take a look at the bottom of the screen here if you could for me, Deontay Banks. What's your physicality going to do when he does that to you? What, I know somebody's saying, it's technically a penalty. Hush up. What are you going to do when he does that to you, huh? How far is your physicality going to get you then? You're about the size of this cornerback, Deontay. You're about the size of that. He'll make easy work of Deontay. He does that even more. Seahawks. Easy work. I would recommend Deontay leans more into that nice athleticism he's got. And just hold on for dear life. That seems to be the best route. Take the Chadarius Ward route of coverage. I'm going to hold on to him all day, and the officials can't call a flag all day, right? Because DK kind of gets the Shaq rules involved. Where it's like back, the Hack Shack days where you basically had to break one of Shaq's ribs to get a foul call at times. Because he was so physical and beastie. They're just like, well, what are these guys going to do? They got to do something. Thank you, though. Feed me. Appreciate you. JL says, can't wait to see Diggs and Adams roaming around out there knocking people's heads off. Me neither, man. Hopefully those guys are out there and rolling full. It sounds like Jamal's hyped up to hell. Puppet Master says, those hips can fix any tax problem. That's what I'm saying, Puppet Master. These aren't problems. These are just minor issues is really what we're talking about here. We can't be throwing those hips in jail. We can't deprive the universe of that. It ain't right. It ain't right, I tell you. It's an injustice in this world. Carson, she carries the Willie Nelson generation. Oh, Lordy. Bob running is 1-9-11 out loud. Running is 1-9. Fleece was up with cruising license. Matthew Galinda's Giants still have Eli, right? They may go back to him soon enough if Daniel keeps playing like that. Brian says, just hope Banks doesn't get under DK to get a penalty. Well, I guarantee you DK saw that quote. So when we start seeing it get chippy early on between those two, it's going to be what it is. Zach Richardson says, love this video. Every play has a story, and you got to analyze it to see why something does or doesn't work. Exactly, Zach. I love doing these kind of little streams like this where we do concentrate on a little bit of a video set, and I think it's the more clips I can kind of tend to show on these points and go through, I think the better we get to a full understanding of what's going on rather than guessing or just trying to take a baseline statistic and say, well, this statistic just says this. I think this is where you try to, as I did at the start of this, you marry some of the advanced statistics that you can go off, some of the analytical numbers that you can go off, but you always come back around and pair those numbers up with what you have on the tape. You put the two together. You don't just lean on one or the other. And that's what we're trying to hopefully, get done on these kind of streams today to get us a little bit of a clearer idea. Because there was a lot of consternation out there I was seeing in the fan base, looking online and whatnot in regards to the lack of production for JSN so far. And I think that for me, and looking at all this tape and looking at this all 22 multiple times over of every single one of these games to start out his career, he's fine. He's going to be really good here for us. He's everything that we still thought he was going to be in training camp. It's just going to be a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. I mean, that's the best I guess I can come down as a bottom line on it, Brian Myers, Brandon, what could C-Mac recovery be why they worked out Darrell Henderson? It could be, Brian. It could be. Maybe they look at Darrell Henderson as an upgrade over the kid that they have on the practice squad right now. And, they're looking at the thought process of upgrading that if they need to. What would be weird for me on that is this, Brian, is that when you have a knee injury like that, if it's a knee injury that's going to end up requiring surgery, then usually you're able, the doctors are good enough in this day and age to make that determination very early on after the injury. They don't tend to need to have to wait 3-4 weeks. And then at that point, then it's just not getting right. We're going to have to get the surgery at this point. I mean, maybe everyone, it's very rare I hear it that way, especially in the modern era. They usually determine that stuff pretty quickly, the severity. But it is possible, and it was eye-opening that they had them in here working out like they did, because the rest of the running backs seem to be okay. RL, I hope Jamal can stay healthy. Me too, RL. Me too, man. Garth Knight, thank you for the $5 donation. I appreciate all the donos today, Garth. This is Brando. You're making me like DK. I just hope he doesn't take any fantasy touches from JSN. I like that stuff too, man. I like having a beast, a bully on the field. It puts a smile on my face. I love the way he plays the game. Back when I played football and from junior high to high school, you little bit, you got on the field, you're gonna get banged around. It's a rough sport. It ain't always a lot of fun out there. It's fun to watch. It ain't always the funnest to play when you're getting, at the end of the day, it's mano a mano. It's one man saying, hey, I'm tougher than you, I'm bigger than you, I'm badder than you. What are you gonna do about it? Not much when you're that big, Batman. Thank you, Garth. Appreciate the $5, man. Appreciate all the donations, Garth. Thank you so much, man. Steven says, take a short break and give your cat some love. I'll give her some love. She's having a bit of a needy mode. I know. You want to say hey to everybody? Can you give everybody a hi? Yeah? What do you think about it? You like DK? Is Jaxon Smith going to go off here soon? Yeah? 7 catches? 8? 8 catches against the Giants? Jeez. You're high on him for fantasy, huh? Well, I understand. I get it. I understand. We're pretty high on him, too. Some are worried on him, though. You worried? Yeah? Yeah? What you doing? She thanks you for that. Brian says, how about a fantasy update for chat members? Oh, yeah, we can do that. Show you how bad I'm getting my butt whooped. Why not, Brian? I could use some embarrassment. Let's take a look here at how our league's doing. So let's see here. Bang, bang, bang. Okay. You guys can see how we got going here. Let's see, where are we at? How can I show this where it's going to show everything? Maybe if I shrink it down. Maybe that'll help. So it's been a little bit of a rough start for me in fantasy. I ain't gonna lie. I went a little heavy on my receivers, and not so good on my running backs. And unfortunately, I ended up going with Daniel Jones as my quarterback, and that's all just blowing up in my face. So I'm Big Dixon energy. You can see me around 12th down there on the line there. My Big Dixon energy is not so Big Dixon. You know what I mean? Kind of small Dixon energy right now, to be honest with you. Stands, you know, the pool's a little cold. If you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean? But I'm looking to bounce back. You know, I'm in the long game here. I'm in the long game. Let's be clear with that. Okay, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. This fantasy league thing. So yeah, I'm working through it a little bit. I've also been kind of like mollywopped. I feel like I'm getting a lot of points against me. And in fact, if you look at it, okay, there's other teams that I can't even go to that excuse. Okay, I got no excuse. I'm just kind of sucking it up right now. And my strat's not working. And then on my back, Kenneth Walker is my RB1 and my RB2 is a complete and utter catastrophe. Just a catastrophe. I was hoping Jalen Ward or the backup there at Tennessee would end up taking over, and Tennessee's so bad, and they're still leaning on Derrick Henry, who's not giving them anything, and it's right now it's a little rough. Okay, we're finding our way a bit. I need a waiver wire transaction. I need a magical waiver wire. Brian says, Fleece, we are wearing blue Navy uniforms on Monday. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. Puppet Master, I just got here a few minutes ago. I'm assuming you already talked about JSN. I think he'll be just fine. I've noticed he's been able to get open, but hasn't had many targets yet, but it will come. Yeah. He's getting separation. First and foremost, you're using 2 and 3 tight end sets on the field at a high propensity, which is taking and removing snaps from JSN. So that takes him off the field, say nothing of being the first progression in routes, which I agree with you. He also is not that. And we showed a lot of tape. I'd say certainly Puppet Master, go back to the start because there's a good 25, 30 cuts that I showed, kind of showing what he's doing on some of these routes. And he is getting open. But like you say, a lot of it comes down to not being the first read and then you not having the offensive line in play that can hold up because of the injury situation for him to have the opportunity to go through read 3 and 4 and maybe even 5, right? So he's oftentimes on his tape with Geno going read 1 and 2, but that's by necessity. That's not because Geno was incapable. He showed last year when he had the offensive line fully on point, he could go through a lot of reads. He can be patient back there. He understands how to do that, but you just haven't had the time back there to roll it. But he'll be fine. He'll be good. Flickus, which I agree, we'll be lucky to split with the Niners. They look every bit as strong as they have in recent years. I can't ding them on anything. Even Brock, who I've not been big on, has been playing really good football. Matthew says Deontay calling fantasy points for DK this weekend. Yeah, talk about the one guy I'm not trying to say anything about going to the matchup. That's one week where I'm just keeping it zipped, business-like, I'm giving him a handshake for the game. Be like, hey, what's up, DK? We'll keep this nice and we're going to keep this nice and not, I'm going to take care of, professionals, we're just out here. We want to get out of this game. Not hurt, Don't need to, you don't need to witherspoon me, man. I'll keep it above board here. I don't need to tackle today. I don't need to tackle. Okay. I know you like to block hard. Just look, I'm not tackling. We got a front seven for that, right? Right. So I'll be out here, I'm covering you. Got to do that. I got to do that, man. You know what I mean? I got to do that. But you want to, I'm just saying when it comes to run, you don't need to get like that with it. You don't have to be you don't have to go like that on me. I'm just going to kind of be back here in the pocket. You know what I mean? Do one of those kind of those deals. But hey, Deontay's calling for some smoke. Props to him. Props to him. Phoebe Moore Seahawks, if Eskridge is what the offseason hype told him to be, well, from the organization, we could have a 5-headed monster at what we just saying. It could. It's hard to get that many guys targets and balls, and it's, as we're seeing with JSN right now, there's just only so many to go around, especially when you have the running game that we have. But, yeah. Matthew says, meow if JSN gets a touchdown this weekend. All right, let's ask her here. I'm on the scene here with one Pumpkin, the orange cat, known to be a prognosticator and great psychic within her feline heart. We're going to check with her today and see if she happens to have any updates for us on the JSN situation and if we might hope to find Mr. Jaxon Smith-Njigba with his first touchdown this season. I'm on the scene here with Pumpkin now. Pumpkin, is Jaxon Smith-Njigba going to get his first touchdown this week? I have confirmation. This is Brandon Kane down here at the scene. And by the cat's psychic intuition, we can now say that in certain, Jaxon Smith will have his first touchdown this Monday night. It's inevitable. Mr. Dog, I got clotheslined in junior high by my buddy, and I quickly learned I wouldn't make it in football. He ended up being a UDFA for the Dolphins and All-America in college. Yeah, I was all the way through junior high, got into high school. At one point, I was a little late to getting started up in the year at the end of high school. We had a big high school. We had just huge guys everywhere. It was 6'3", 6'4" guys. And I went out on the field there in high school, tried to roll it, and they put us up. They put first stringers against third stringers. And then it was just, they were letting them be dirty too. So I was playing linebacker, and so you go in pursuit, and they were just letting the linemen just hammer us in the back and with hard. You're running, going after somebody, and then somebody just hits you as hard as they can in the back to drop you, and they're laughing and they think it's funny. And coaches are just over there going, it's football. You can't say nothing. It's we all hit that point, Mr. Dog. We have the love for the sport, but we all hit that spot where size and talent didn't quite hold up on the measure. JSN for sure getting the tutty. I think so. Steele, so excited you're streaming while I'm working. I have an extremely dry, boring job as an architectural draftsman. Boy, that's a mouthful there too. Well, hang in there, Steele. Hang in there. One more day this week and we get through that to the weekend. But I appreciate that, man. Thank you for listening in while you're working. Flicker the switch as the days of us owning the 49ers are long gone. It's on us to flip it back over now if we're going to, that's for sure. Calm Cow, is he sick? I'm not sick. Garth, thank you for another $5 donation, Garth. I do appreciate that. All the donos today. Says Brando, I trust yourself and the Orange Cat's opinion. Who do you both agree on winning Thursday night football with the Lions and Green Bay? Ooh, good question, Garth. Well, she's been over here chit-chatting away, so let's get her a little bit more now into this if we can. Let's get her. First off, let's get her into screen here because you guys got to see her mouth move so you can read her lips. So we've got the call by Garth says, who do we agree on winning Thursday night football with Lions -2? All right, so we got the Lions -2, Pumpkin. You can carry Lions with the points, or you can go for the underdog on this one. I mean, Detroit had them last week at the end of the season. That's how we got in the playoffs. So Detroit and Green Bay, who wins? Green Bay or Detroit, Pumpkin? Green Bay? Did you hear that? Did you hear the 2-syllable enunciation there? So you said Green Bay, right? I think she's saying Green Bay. I'm getting a Green Bay vibe from her. There was definitely a Green Bay. Green Bay. That's what I heard. Matthew says, no, the Lions are getting it done against the Packers. I love it, Matthew. I'd like to see the Lions get it. I'm done with seeing the Packers win that division every year. They've had enough. They've won enough out there. They need to sit in the backseat for a little while. You've driven enough. Lee says, I hope the Lions make the playoff wild card so we can knock them off. Gar says, I'm all in on DK after Brando signed off. Hell yeah, man. I'm with it. You know I like him. O'Dwyer said the 49ers are a top 2 team in the NFL. They absolutely are stacked, and injuries or the Eagles are probably the only thing stopping them from going to the Super Bowl. It's my agreement on this as well. I mean, I think we've got to be fairly even keeled on this one and look at it with pretty sober eyes, being that they are, as good as they are stacked up. Look what they did to the Giants last week without even having Brandon Ayuk in the fold. Certainly health is going to be a big part of this because they are stacked top heavy. You lose a Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel, that offense looks significantly different. You lose George Kittle and Trent Williams. I think that offense looks significantly different. But that has to happen. And they may maintain a lot of their health, and they may just be just fine when it's all said and done, where that depth doesn't get tested in that way. But they're as strong a team as you're going to find in the NFL, in my opinion, as well right now. And they're riding every bit as strongly as they were last season before Purdy went down. And they might have won that game against the Eagles had Purdy not gone down. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate you. Keldon, what's up, man? How you doing, bro? A few more Seahawks. They can't run on us like last year, I hope. Yeah, I hope not either. That's maybe one point where we'll be a little better against them this year, which would be nice. Seahawks gave me what happens to Marquise Blair. I think he went to the Panthers last year, and I don't know if he's even in the sport anymore, to be honest with you. Bob says, Geno's story is just beginning. Year 2 of starting again and a Super Bowl year. Chiefs are distracted with Taylor Swiftie. Hope you're right, man. I love it. Hope you're right. Stephen Patel says, you got the most vocal cat I've ever known. Oh, I know. I could sit here and do a full conversation with her. I've had whole talks where I don't know exactly what she's saying, but she's let me know about it. And she was that way when I got her from the shelter, where you take them and she's the second you put her in the box all the way home, it was nothing but just let me know, I don't like this box. I don't know where you're taking me. You're going to hear about it from me though, until you let me out of this thing. And she's been like that ever since. So she's definitely she's chatty. Gar says, wow, the orange cat is not conservative. No. Let it ride. Val Ramos, love is looking pretty good, man. I mean, 3-0 with that team and how they're playing, and coming back last week, I think, against the Saints, down by 2 touchdowns, was an impressive performance for him to do that. He had to make some big-time throws in that game for that to happen, and I think it was well done on his part. Saints are a good defense, too. Flick of the Switch says, I think we can split with the 49ers, but we have to bring our A game for all 60 minutes. I agree with you, man. I think we're capable of doing it. But you got to match their energy level. You got to match their tenacity. You got to match where the spirit they're going to bring. And if you kind of don't have that same point, they'll roll right over the top of you. And hopefully we're at that point and ready at that point in the season to do that. This is part of why I like too having the Niners a little later on in the year, is it gives us a chance to find a little bit more a firmer footing. Chance for the younger guys to play a little bit more and get their maturation process a little bit more further along once that game gets there. So DJ River Rhythm, I dig you, man. I definitely am interested with certain things on Germancia stuff and all that. But at the same point in time, like I kind of said with you before on this, man, it's a football channel. Like that's what we're talking about here with it. And, I've presented to you that if you believe in what you believe and you're so strongly on the case of wanting this to prove to people, because you've filled up my comment sections and my video sections with Germancia stuff, like I've seen your stuff all over the place on my videos. I don't know why you've randomly chosen a football channel to make this the place that you want to make your active spot to do it. But if you want to prove Germantia, it's really interesting. Just give us what's the score going to be tonight? But I presented that to you before and I said, prove it to me. Show me you got some proof of it. But you don't prove or back anything up and you just want to say, learn Germantia. Here's a number, learn this. Number one, you're not talking about the discussion that's here, which is about JSN and the Seahawks, which you're off topic in the first place and you've been so before. So I'm going to ask you again, please stay on topic in the chat here. Don't fill it up with the Germantia stuff. I appreciate that you are so firmly in love with that stuff and you so believe it. And I love that passion, man. I'm a passionate guy as well. Passionate about football, passionate about Seahawks. That's what we're here to talk about. So, unless you're really want to bring the goods to it to where you can prove something in a real tangible way past these like gray shades, or do it in retrospect where you come back in and go, well, this is how you knew this game was Germantia because 37-32, and then I take this and I add that to this and that. That's doing it in post. Show me up ahead in advance. Then you'll impress me. But you've yet to do that. So please, man, as I asked before on this, let it go on here. This isn't really the spot for you on this. This isn't really where the discussion is going to get pushed forward on that. We're talking football. I'd appreciate it. And yeah, you can definitely now, you can leave the chat if you're going to go after my members and my subscribers. So if you're going to start talking about that, you can get out here. Your Germantia stuff is just like a lot of this poppycock stuff where you want to try to say, well, this is like, you can't prove any of it in advance. Then when you come back and post, you try to prove it up. Bye. I'm done with that. Do. Some folks, you just can't reach. Gave up what we had here last week, which is the way he wants it. Well, he gets it. I don't like it any more than you. Dun. And Brian, he is c'est la vie, c'est la vie. C'est la vie. Swedish Shinobi says, B, who's filling the roster spot after cutting Cody Thompson? This one I'm not sure on, man. Is John up to something? Is he stirring the cauldron, doing something in the background here? My thinking on this Swedish is that they're going to go with one less wide receiver this week because the injury situation right now on the offensive line, being that you still have the dodgy toe there with Cross. But, we saw last week we were down to McClendon Curtis, who you just signed with the team. And I think that the team was in a place last week where if like Damian Lewis didn't keep going and we lost McClendon Curtis, I'm not too sure who we were calling upon in that game. I was joking on the telecast that we'd have to kick Curhan inside and make DK Metcalf the tackle for the rest of the game. But I mean, you might have had to do that. That might have been something that was what was required there. So, yeah, I think it's probably for the lineman Swedish more than anything else. You activate Jason Peters this week. You keep McClendon Curtis active. You don't, you at that point have just the extra lineman in case of stuff getting really weird. Ryan, what an awesome movie. Cool Hand Luke, man. It's an all-timer. I love me some Cool Hand Luke. Gar says, rest in peace, Paul Newman. Last Tuesday marks 15 years. That's right. JF. DJ equals 65. Douchebag equals 65. Oh, Lordy. Garth Knight says, some men you just can't reach. Listen to Guns N' Roses Civil War. Oh, that's Garth. That's why I've got that memorized. I know the movie too, but that's why We don't want your civil war. It was a B-side. So you kids don't know this stuff. This stuff's going back. But you had it as the B-side of a single, which I think was it was off one of their, not the old one, but one of the newer ones, I think. But it was a B single to like November Rain or something. We don't want your civil war. But that was the start of that song, as they had that speech in it. What we have got here, failure. Okay. Nas says Bobo's better than Rice. I love the confidence, Nas. Swedish says O-line makes sense. I was wondering if it was going to be someone like TJ Austin for punt returns. DJ Dallas scared the ever-loving hell out of me last week. Okay, so I'm glad, first off, I'm not the only one in Swedish, because that band freaks me out. DJ freaks me out, okay? He's wild back there. He's like he's dropped a tab of acid, then he's going back and waiting 15 minutes, and once it kicks in, they're like, all right, go back there and do some punt returning. You know? That's how I feel a little bit like with DJ, because nothing ever makes any sense on his decision-making with it. And luckily, he's not made a bad choice up until this point, like he's had a fumble or a bad, but just like last week got close. He caught one where he literally had a guy hanging off of his jock strap, and he still decided not to fair catch it. Bold choice, Cotton. Bold choice. But I think we could be better suited out there. That's why I was a little paused in Swedish coming to the kind of, it is an offensive lineman, why they've done it. There might be something else at play. They did work out Austin, I think this last week. He is tight with Geno, so I know Geno's making the case for him, and there's no doubt about it. You know, when you get to see a guy back there doing it and handling those duties off of a guy that wasn't able to do that, you see the difference. We saw this a bit even for a guy that was an elder statesman here with the Bears returner, Devin Hester, for many years. And he came here with us at the end. And remember, in that Falcon game, he had a really big return that I think the officials screwed us over on. Bad call on the return because it was legit all the way. But you got to feel his presence coming back when he did, even at his age, still able to do that. Because they've just got a knack for it, an understanding for it. They understand the angles and how to do it, how to catch the ball in certain ways in different environments comfortably and not fumble it. I'd love to see them do it. Would. Paul Sicias says, what do I see happening at the trade deadline? I think that the team's probably going to make a move. If I was going to say educated guess style here, the team is going to look to make a move for probably a defensive end at this point. You've got Brian Monet returning back as a nose tackle into the future. Cameron Young, they're probably hoping there'll be further development from him as the year goes along. And you do still have Jaron Reed here. So you probably look more with Mike Morris having his season-ending surgery and now not being able to contribute at all. You like what you're getting from some of the other guys there, but you could use a little bit more. And I think that's the place they look to target. Who that guy is a little harder to say at this point, because unfortunately the 0-3 teams as it stands, Paul, are not well stocked up with what we could use. We really would like that defensive end. None of them have it. So for instance, the Bears, what was I thinking? The Bears, the Vikings. That's another team where just they don't have any defensive linemen that are any worth if they do go into sell mode. And we have to find those teams that are actually going to go in sell mode if we're looking to have ones that we can, utilize something they've got. I don't know if the Panthers would give Derek Brown over. That might be shooting too big. The guy I keep going back to is maybe with the Giants. If we put the Giants in a 1-3 hole here after this week, if they start to find themselves fourth in that division and, do they start opening themselves up a little bit more to maybe making some moves around the trade deadline, specifically Leonard Williams? I think DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart has kind of gone out the door with the Colts starting out 2-1, but then there's not a lot of other teams out there. Broncos, another team. Purcell would maybe be the one guy in that defensive line that I would look at as a guy that could maybe help us out. But another team that looks like they're going into the chute and they don't have a lot to offer us in a trade. That makes it tough. There's got to be a partner and there's got to be an asset they want that we're willing to give up. We've got the capital. We got the draft capital to give up, but there's got to be the assets to have it happen. Flick of the Switch says 50 hard-boiled egg challenge coming up. Oh, I would definitely make about 20 eggs and I'd be vomiting. There's no way I could go 50. No way. Swedish Civil War was the first track on Use Your Illusion 2. Oh, okay. I had it on a single. So back in the day, when you're a kid, I'd go in and you'd get the single. I wasn't sure yet if I'd want the whole, because you had to do the double album on Use Your Illusion. That was a big, for my young teenage, that was a big cost for me. There's a lot of money come out of pocket. I need to make sure they're going to follow up their opening with there were some rumors, there was some rough, stuff going on with the creation of that. So I had to be sure. But I think I had it on the back of but it was Use Your Illusion. Yeah. But I think it was the back I had back on November Rain single. I think I had. Dio says, I really love Bubbo. I hope he gets more targets. Love him too, Dio. It's tough, man. So many mouths to theoretically feed here right now, and there's only so many balls to go around. Nas, I feel like Jamal Adams' presence on the field is going to make Spoon much better. I don't think it can hurt, Nas. I'll say that. I mean, it's not going to make him worse, Yeah, it probably could help. They both feed off and seem to operate with that same kind of energy on the football field. Which is that they're just always at 100 miles an hour. And certainly having another running mate out there that's like that probably is beneficial, I think. Bear with me one sec, folks. I'll be right back. No civil war. Oh, righty. Feeds the rich while it buries the poor. It's actually a pretty heavy song too, man. It's a deep song for Guns N' Roses. Mr. Dog, have you heard of the story of the pitcher that threw a no-no on acid? I have. I think there's a really nice little YouTube video that somebody put together on it that you can check out. But pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Those folks back in the 70s, man, they marched to their own drummer. Feed me more Seahawks off-topic question. Any thought on the 0-3 teams going at it? Is it worth watching with no Seahawks on Sunday? Are they really going to broadcast the 0-3 games, or you've just got the YouTube thing probably? Broncos and Bears, you talk about, where do you even start on that one, right? I guess I give the Broncos the nod on that one because I think the Bears just, they don't have the 70-point spot hung on them, but they look to me every bit as bad. So I would probably go Broncos. I don't think it'd be a game I'd want to watch. I'll say that. And yeah, I think that the Vikings-Panthers game is probably one that the Vikings win, but not by a lot. Just because Bryce Young's in there. I think if Dalton was in there, I'd probably give Dalton the nod. Val Ramos, what's that one song? Guns N' Roses, Paradise? Yeah, how's that one go? It's just... Take me down to Paradise City where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Oh, won't you please take me home? Take me down to the Paradise City where the grass is... It's Paradise City. Grass is green and the girls are pretty. Oh, won't you please take me home? Paul, Licton Springs and Park Magic Mushrooms Grew Wild. That was North Wilson Junior High. Oh, Lord. Junior high. Junior high back then was a different time. Dio Brandon should have taken Jalen Carter. I don't know, Dio. Witherspoon looking all right. Witherspoon looking all right. Eric Canoop, I could see Seattle making a push for Donald if the Rams are still losing. I would, and I've said this before, Eric. I maintain this now. I will maintain this in the future. As if he's in good standing health and the Rams are willing to move him within the division, which is a rarity, I would make a run at Aaron Donald if it's on the table as an option. I don't know if it is, but I absolutely would. I think that he would certainly he would certainly help this defense out tremendously. Tremendously. Steve Trout as the pitcher, Paul? No, it was some other guy. I forget the name, but it was somebody else. Brian Myers B, watch the Jets defensive line when they fire sale at the deadline. Quinnen Williams. I love Quinnen Williams, Brian, but they just signed him to a contract extension. Just signed him to a contract extension this offseason. So the money involved in order to get out from under the deal there is too much. You're not going to be able to pull that off, unfortunately. They have Quentin Jefferson as their other starting left tackle or defensive tackle. I don't think Quentin Jefferson has a lot of value to this team, or they felt really good about his level of play last year. Al Woods, I mean, maybe. But if you look at their defensive line talent past Quinnen Williams, it's really not that great. Jermaine Johnson's pretty nice, but John Franklin Myers, he's okay. I mean, maybe him. Not a lot there, though. Right? But there's no chance on Quinnen. Divine Comedy, DJ Jones from Denver would also be a good guy to have. Great nose tackle with pass rush upside. There's a great name I hadn't mentioned that is actually a really good name to name. DJ Jones has been a good player. He was really good for San Francisco, and he's been a good player for the Broncos as well. He is having a bit of a down year for them this year, though. I'll say that. He's got a 49 overall PFF grade as it stands. But last year with Denver, he was okay with Denver last year. God, I thought he was better than this. He had 2 sacks, 24 tackles, 63 overall rating. He was okay. We might need a little more than this for where he might be in his career. Because he hasn't been as good with Denver as he was with San Fran. But that's still a good name. I like that. He has been a good player. Maybe it's just being on a bad defense, Divine. But he can play, he can do some nose tackle. He can move him around a little bit. Brian Myers says 7-inch singles. I miss those. Yeah, it was back in the day. It's part of the fun going to the mall. Is you go to the mall and then you go into like the Tower Records or whatever, and then you go down the singles aisles and look for the single ones if you didn't want to get the whole deal. Matthew Glenn says hi, Pumpkin. Yeah, they're saying hi to you. Hi. Hey. Hey. Hi. Hey. Oh, okay, I'll let you sleep. Swedish Shinobi just read that Radigan has been elevated to the active roster, so that answers that. Oh, there we go, Swedish. We knew it was on the case somewhere. There was some other move that was going to happen. If I may say that I think that why they do this is, remember at the end of the game last week, Jordan Brooks was kind of reaching for his back a little bit at times. I wonder if they're a little bit worried about that back thing with Brooks going through this week a little bit. Just want to make sure they've got enough guys if there is an injury concern or worry or issue. Like if the Broncos lose to the Bears, it's going to be a meltdown in Denver. It's going to be, you just keep thinking I keep thinking they're at their worst, they're bottom of the barrel, that they've hit the bottom, that there's no more for it. You go, okay, now they definitely have to know where to go but up. Like this can't keep going. It just keeps going lower and lower. So at some point you think this would turn, Flick. At some point you think, okay, come on now. Okay, come on now. This can't keep, come on. No way. Oh my gosh. But we'll have to see, man. We're just going to have to see on that. I agree, though. It's not going to be good in Denver if this happens. Dio Brando, the second Dumbledore actor, indeed did just die. Michael Gambon. Even more Seahawks. I wish Jordan Carr would just mess up so we can stop hearing about him. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Guard Knight, thank you for the $5 donation. You're power-hungry selling soldiers in a human grocery store. Yeah, ain't that fresh? Axel was on one with that song, Garth. He was definitely in his feelings. I don't know, maybe he's got a dad that went to Nam or something, but that was definitely like, my dad went to Nam, and I'm going to tell you how bad war, you know. We don't need your civil war. You're power-hungry selling soldiers in a human grocery store. Ain't that fresh? Got some other Guns N' Roses fans in here. I love it, man. Chris Kim, thank you for the $5 donation. I do appreciate it, Chris. He says, I would like to submit my formal application for the nickname for one Zach Charbonnet, the Bouncer. Let's add that to the mix, man. We got, I'll put this to a poll at some point, Chris. We'll do it this Sunday. So let's get yours added. Yours added is in there. I think that's a good one. I like it. So here's our names right now. Here's our Charbonnet nicknames. We're going to go Bouncer, the Bouncer. We're going to go with Zach Diesel. I think that's a front runner, but we got to put that in there, right? We got Truck Charbonnet, which just kind of rolls off the tongue nice. Can't knock that one. What was the other one we had? There's one other one I'm missing. I like it, though. I think Zach Diesel's still going to win out, Chris. That seems to be the one that does. But I will pose, Chris, I promise I'll include yours. We'll do when I get the fourth option in here that fits good, we'll put that fourth option, and I'll pose it to a poll to the Hawks channel maybe this Sunday, and we'll see if we can lock down on a good nickname for Charbonnet. But I like the Bouncer. Certainly applies. He sent that guy out the club this past week, Chris. He sent the guy out the club and down the street and through a window. That's how far he hit him. But application received, and I will put it in with the mix, and we'll post this to the channel and see what they say. See which is what, who is who. Look at the switches. None of the 0-3 games will be televised locally here in Washington. Thank God. Thank dear God for that. They get some crappy matchups in the early games before Seattle at times, and they're going, who came up with this? Like, who decided that this is what we'd be wanting to watch? So hopefully they get a good slate. I got the red zone going, so I'll be watching that a ton. But I would like to see what's up with that. Brian Myers, Tower Records. You did the same. Go down the mall and go down. You go through all your little shops, get a little clothes shop, to check out a few things. It's when you're younger. It used to be the thing to do. This was before the internet. Flick, we got the Rams Colts at 10 a.m. Ugh. That's what I'm talking about, Flick. Like, what do they think? There's LA people up in Washington that want to watch that? And then the Cards and Niners. Flick, those are awful. I guess they just did the NFC West, but that's lame sauce. Even the Chiefs-Jets game is going to be a bad game. The Chiefs are just, ugh. Swedish says a blowout loss to the Bears would for sure be the worst game ever. A video I would love to see. I know Brandon Perna sitting there over at Denver, like sitting there with it in the back of his mind going, oh, Lord, it's coming this week, isn't it? Like the stage is set. The stage is set. All the parameters have been met, Now you're 0-3 going against the Bears team that, is just absolutely can't get one decision right, it would seem like, and you lose to them. And to lose to them, like you say, by a blowout. Oh. Dogzilla Monster, JSN is a rookie. It's no wonder Geno throws to veteran wide receivers and tight ends instead. Yeah. Especially when you have really good guys at those other positions you're throwing to. Not just veterans, but veterans that are some of the better at their position in the sport. I think that does help. Seahawks gaming, Danico Autry. If the Titans fall 1-3, I like Danico Autry. He can be a monster at times. Already 3.5 sacks this year, so he's been making it happen. Let's take a look over though at Sports Track. I want to say that they might have just signed him to an extension. Let's take a look though. Don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. Why are you crying? It's okay. I know. You tell me. Danico Autry. Where is Autry at there? Is he not on? Oh yeah, they got him for... Yeah, they only gain about $1 million by moving off of him. But Danico's great. If we get him, I would love that. If that was an option on the table when the Titans were really... They've not been typically a team in sell mode, Seahawks gaming, in recent years past. They've not been an opportunity to be because they've been pretty good. They have $9 million. So, they can afford it from that standpoint. Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion on your part. One I hadn't probably considered as much. The dead money's not bad for Danico. And I think he would fit to this defense as an end here. $9 million cap hit, $8 million dead money. They wouldn't save a lot of cap space. So you're going to have to give up something decent to make it happen. But you could. Nate says, AB, what's this I saw on X or AK Twitter about the Niners should make a trade for J.C. Horn or Surtain? This would be scary if they pulled that off. This is part of what makes the Niners scary right now and going throughout the course of this year is that, as I've always said, I have a lot of reverence for those teams that do go all in and do understand, know thyself, know where you are in the area of your Super Bowl window or if you're in a Super Bowl window or not. And the Niners made a determination right after they signed Bosa that they are not only just in their Super Bowl window, but they're going to make sure that they're firmly rooted in that this year, all the way through this season, kind of no matter what happens. And so when they converted all those salaries based to bonus this season as they did, they freed up a lot of cap space. I mean, they're sitting right now with a lot of cap space that they can utilize. In fact, the 49ers right now have the most cap space in the entire National Football League. National Football League at $44 million of dead money. So, or $44 million of just money to spend. So at any point in time this season, any point in time before the trade deadline, the Niners can go jump out there and make a big swing somewhere. Brian Burns, J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain. They can go out there and make those kind of moves that they want. And as they've shown in recent years past, even last year with the McCaffrey deal, they'll give up assets. They're not shy about giving up first round draft picks or draft picks at all in order to go make a move happen. So yeah, I think that's a big concern, Nate, as it stands right now, that they might be willing to do that. If they do use this money, because a part of what this is, they want to roll that money into next year's cap because next year's cap looks so bad that this helps to free up some of next year's cap situation. But another part of it is also that they would have the freedom to utilize it this year if they so had the thought. And $40 million is a lot of money. It's a lot of money, a lot of contract you can take on if you want to do that. If they want to do that. Paul says, do you see us selling at trade deadline? We are heavy on D-backs and wide receivers. Oh, I don't necessarily see us selling as far as defensive backs, Paul, because I think that they value the depth they have, and they've already had to call upon that depth. I mean, you're as it is right now down to Jaxon. You're down Trey. Last game, you're down Trey Brown, down Tariq Woolen. If it moved past that, no Kobe Bryant as well, Paul. Right? So you're kind of down as it is right now, 3 defensive backs. I don't think that instructs the team that they should feel like they're okay in moving them, nor do I think that there's really going to be much assets you're going to get for any of these guys on the open market. Wide receiver, maybe Eskridge. but another guy that's not going to have really any kind of value out there on the open market. So if you do move him, you're giving him away for a bag of potato chips. It's kind of the bottom line on that one. Other than him though, there's nobody else that's really going to be of any value out there from the guys you'd be willing to move. Feed me more Seahawks. Bills game might be good if it was last year with Tua healthy. Week 4 of 5 last year was a great game between the Bills and the Dolphins. That'd be a game I would have loved to have seen. That's the one where it's like when you hear about the early action, feed me more. Like, why not go to that one? Like that's everybody in the country wants to watch that game. Garth, thank you for the $5 donation, Garth. I appreciate all the donos today. He says, Axel at the end. Axel ends it with, what's so civil about whoa? Anyway, he must have had some relatives in Korea and Nam. That's how he it seemed like that's what he was singing that song from that same, kind of place where there was definitely something personal in it with just how, much anger and stuff he had in the song as he's singing it. And again, an unusual song for Guns N' Roses that used to like to sing about, boobs and drinking and partying, and they weren't as bad as some of the other 80 bands with that stuff. They weren't like Poison with it, but that was kind of their speed usually, was in that area. So going kind of heavy on that one was unusual, but I always liked the song. It grew on me. It was that B-side track, but I'd always flip it back over and listen to the other B-side and be like, I don't want to rewind it. I'll just flip it over to the other one and play the other side. It's a good song. Good song, Garth. Thank you, man, for all your donos today, brother. You're awesome. Flick of the switch. Dallas losing to the Cardinals is the most Mike McCarthy thing ever. Yeah, that's true. It's very true. I can't believe they lost to him. But hey, we lost the Rams this year too. Like we can't, maybe the Cardinals are better. Maybe they're better than we all thought. Brian says, B, what it do? Okay, I'm iffy on Jamal. Zero faith. But if he can come in and be a boost to the pass defense, great. If not, let his ass go. Move on. Availability is a must. I indeed believe, Brian, that this is a make or break it year for Jamal here. I think that when you came into last offseason and where the team was at, all things being equal, there's probably a little bit of a draw on their part to look at maybe, cut and bait at that point and going, okay, it's just not working and I don't think he's going to get healthier. I think, though, the way they looked at the little amount of money that they wouldn't save really any money. It was almost going to cost them to get off of Jamal, or they would have to spread the costs out over 2 years to move in that direction. This offseason, they're more freed up in a way to where they can move if that's what's going to be required to happen. If he doesn't, like you say, stay available, stay healthy, if he just can't do it, or he's highly diminished as a player coming off these injuries, then they're in a position now this offseason where you can move it and actually save some money. They can spread the dead money this offseason into 2 years and save a little bit more money. So you have that ability to do that in a way that you couldn't in the past. And I think that does make this more of a make or break it point. I also think that if he is a guy that is back to his full, close to what he was as a player from before, he hasn't lost too much, and that he's in just highly diminished, that he's a guy that's going to help this defense. Julian Love has been really poor in pass coverage in the first few weeks of the season. And it's really kind of a nowhere to go but up kind of situation with how he's played out there in that respect of things. So I think Jamal's going to help, Brian. He's going to help in the run game, no doubt about that. He's a top-end strong safety in this league as a run stuffer. And I think he's good in coverage and man coverage situations. And here's the real last point of this, Brian, that I hope is the encouraging part that this brings with Jamal, which is more of now of a freeing up of the defense to get more exotic, to get a little bit more pressure-based, and start taking it to offenses rather than consistently letting offenses kind of take it to you, especially in regards to the passing game. Val Ramos says Seahawks smashing the Giants, and that's a Niner fan saying it, so I know you believe it, brother. I hope you're right. You made them look silly last week. You had Daniel Jones looking like he was just about ready to cry on a football field. Kun on Turk Kador Yon. Zach is Cambodian descent. He is, man. He looks built different after what he did last week. He was. You don't see running backs send guys flying like that. It's been a long time, and usually if you do, it's those running backs that are Jerome Bettis size, where it's like, well, the guy's carrying an extra 50 pounds on his back, So yeah, more mass is going to take down little mass and send it flying, but not when you got kind of mass on mass. Maze Guru, how you doing? El Red, Zach the Reaper. I think that's pretty good too. Mr. Dog, how likely do we see everyone healthy at some point this year? I mean, I'd say it's probably unlikely you're going to see everyone healthy during a year at any given point. You know, somebody's always probably going to be out or dinged or knocked around a bit. So I almost said knocked up. Is going to be, you know, in a bit of a diminished state of things, I would say myself, Mr. Dog, on that. So you hope you just try to get as close to full health as you can. And the chance of that, I think, are its best chances of happening, I think, as long as we can get through this game without it getting too gnarly, are probably just after the bye week. Because if all thing holds true to be where you think it's going, you're getting back both your tackles. I think McIntosh is back by that point. You have Jamal back into the flux. You got Tariq back into the flux there. You know, you're probably going to be, I guess Disley, if he's not back by this week, will be back by next week after the bye for sure. That does, I think, get you pretty close to that state of things. But of course, we've got to get through this upcoming game. Garth Knight, Unskinny Pop is a classic by Poison. Unskinny Pop, 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 Pop. You know what I need. Poison was guilty pleasure back in the day, Garth. That is as sugary as they get from a band, man. Danny McCormick, thank you for the $2.79 donation. It says, need a Jamal career day on primetime, show who we are. Boy, would that not be nice, Danny? You get on primetime, Jamal's first action. He's out there doing it up like he did in that first Falcon game for us, where, you know, that first game for Jamal against Atlanta on the road, opening game of the season, first time you got to see him, and you went, whoa, Nelly, look what we got here. I mean, you got to feel in that first game all the things he could do as a hitter, as a tackler, in coverage, pursuit, even as a blitzer. Got a sack in that game on Matt Ryan. It'd be great if we could have another performance like that this week, another unveiling of Jamal Adams in a similar fashion, Danny. Well said on your part, man, and I hope so. We could use it. We could need it back in that secondary. Gar says, I like Gatorade, but are Gators native to Southeast Asia? I don't know on that. Good question. Paul, 1978, I broke into Tower Records by Seattle Center. Oh, man, that one was there, Paul, forever, too. Sad day when that one closed up, because that was another one that not only was it just a cool store, it had that sort of ambiance of kind of like an old record store. It had lived and breathed in. It had so many people come through there. It had a whole personality to it. But I remember that one as well, down there by Seattle Center. That one was great. Beef Stick is a good nickname. Beef Stick, huh? I'll add it to the list. Beef Stick. Okay. Oh no. I can't do beef jerky either. It doesn't work. Charbonnet is the Cambodian beef stick. I might get in trouble for even saying that one. That might get me into some trouble. But it is kind of catchy. So we got the Bouncer, Zach Diesel, Truck Charbonnet, and the Cambodian beef stick. You guys are wrong for that one. That's not on me. Whoever's listening to this, that's not me. I didn't come up with that. I'm just adding it to the list. It's just the fan's voice on this one. It's just the fan's voice on this one. I can't. It's not me doing this. I cannot be held responsible. Gar says, I remember seeing Gentlemen's Club commercials with Tiny Skinny Pop playing in the background and thinking, these truly are gentlemen. Yeah, that's right. It was a time of very, very little shame for those 80s rockers, man. They did not have, there was not a lot of that being worried about. The Charbonnator. Charbonnator, I'll put it on there. That was good too. I have to always say it in Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice, though. The Charbonnator. You've just been Charbonnated. Stick around. Charbonnator. Charbazard. Yeah, there was the Charbazard, too. Somebody was trying to make the Charbazard thing. I don't know. I think it's wide wire snail. Charbazard's a tough one. You got to know Pokemon on that one for it to work. Doesn't quite fit. Doesn't quite fit up to, that type of stuff. All right, folks, we are going to probably pretty soon put a little bit of a finishing up on this. Charbazard, Pokemon fam. Yeah, I don't know. Charbazard. I do like the Cambodian beef stick. That one's going to get a lot of love in the poll, I think. That one's pretty good. I don't know. But we are going to do this is just meant to be a little bit of a shorter stream today because we got, I'll be doing a members only stream on the 5:00 time here for a couple hours for the Thursday night game, as we do this kind of every week for members of the show. So we'll be back here doing this on the Thursday night deal for that. I will be coming back as well tonight. That's why we got to go short here. Is I got a couple hour show as well later on with Brendan, as we're going to be doing the preview of this upcoming match against the New York Giants and breaking it all down. So a couple of streams going on today. That's why we're kind of keeping this one just a little bit short. I will be back as well on Sunday. So we are going to be doing a Sunday stream, another one that's going to be kind of a short stream. So the hope is on this year doing a little bit more streams, a little bit shorter at times to just try to get more in. And like we did today, we're going to be taking a little bit of a look at Anthony Bradford in this past game and taking a look at some of the cut-ups from Anthony Bradford and how he held up. And in particular, I'm really, really impressed by how he handled Derek Brown. And there was a lot of times in this game where it was mano-a-mano, matched up between those two guys, one across from the other, and he had to hold up against a guy who is as strong as you're going to find at the position in the National Football League. And very, very impressive to see him physically go toe-to-toe with Brown, and just impressive over the course of the whole game. In Bradford, he was a guy that was slightly dinged a little bit for some of his, by PFF with some of his grades. Wasn't a badly graded game, but wasn't as goodly graded as I thought he should have been for how good the tape was, because he was so very impressive. Sir Gipalot's is nickname Bulldozer. Bulldozer. Okay, it's added to the list. We're going to do a poll on Sunday on this, Sir Gimpalot. We're going to do a poll. We're going to get this figured out. So I'm going to add all these names on, and we're going to kind of distill it down to the best ones and try to see which ones pull from there. Val Ramos says NFC West teams are tough. Shocker, Val. Us and you Niners, I thought we were going to get a little bit of it eased up this year for both of us, where we'd get 4 freebies within the division, no problem. And we could kind of have 4 weeks of the year where we put our hands behind our back and just sort of stay on the top of the water and let the sun bathe in our face as we go get an easy victory. But instead, no, of course not. The NFC West has to be the toughest division every single year, one way or the other. It's got to find a way. Somehow or another, you're going to end up being the toughest division. And that does, tend to be the thing we're seeing here again. Grug says, nothing goes harder than working out to a Hawks Nest stream. Hell yeah, Grug. Get it. Get it. Swedish Shinobi, wasn't Zach's college nickname the Terminator? Was it? I didn't get any nickname. I'd heard of him coming out. That fits. I'll tell you that. Does fit. Be more Hawks podcast. Talk Monday Night Football per Seahawks website. Let's go. What's that? Be more Seahawks? What's that from? Hawks podcast, talk Monday Night Football per Seahawks website. Let's go. What's that? Cambodian beef sticks is a real thing. I looked it up. It's a delicacy. Well, there we go. Well, it can't be accused of being a derogatory then, I guess, at that point. I like it as a nickname. It makes if a nickname can make me laugh when I say it, I'm always going to like that nickname just a little bit more. And I don't know if that's going to win out. We'll see what the poll says. But so far we got the Bouncer, Zach Diesel, Truck Charbonnet, the Cambodian Beef Stick, the Charbonnator, Charbazard, and the Bulldozer. All good suggestions. Don, Hawks Nest, thank you, Brennan and all. Be seeing you again this evening. Till then, go Hawks. And if you're like me, enjoy Power Rangers Cosmic Fury. Cosmic Fury. Shout out to Power Rangers. Thank you for that, man. I appreciate you. We'll see you a little later on. JL says that lemongrass beef stick looks bomb. You make me hungry. I think I'm going to get a burger here. Motive says, I thought the Rams might be better than advertised, but didn't expect anything at all from the Cardinals. No, I thought the Rams would be at least probably a little bit improved past the Cards. But yeah, the Cards definitely catch me off guard. I mean, when they brought in Josh Dobbs and they're like, we brought this quarterback in last week, we're starting him this week. And you're like, oh, this is heading in a way. This is going in a direction. Gar says, anything we can match Charbonnet with pad thai. I can't say that word. Beef stick is catchy. It is, isn't it? I mean, it does kind of, especially with the Cambodian beef stick. It's got like a phonetic bump, 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 Seahawks Gaming, if we trade for Danico Autry, that would be our Michael Bennett and Cliff Averill moves with Draymond and Autry, and then Jaron Reed and Chris Clemens. I'd love to see it, Seahawks Gaming. Your suggestion on that's a great one. I wish I'd actually come up with that as a little bit more earlier as an option. Autry has really been an ascending player over the past couple of years, and he plays out in Tennessee, and they're not on the brightest display as a team out there, but I think you are right in that he has been a tremendously impressive player for them, and he would be an outstanding addition to this defensive line. I feel that very much as well. I love where your head's at on that one. Chris Cam Pokemon, yeah, the Charbazard. That's what somebody was thinking of that Charbazard, Chris Cam. They're like, and he already spits fire, and it's kind of like he runs with fire. So I was like, all right, yeah, does kind of fit. Dogzilla, since we're talking Cambodian and all, was just curious, are Bobo and Curhan the only white guys on this year's team? I think Nick Ballore, I think he's probably also in that phase. You got Jason Myers, Dixon. Yeah, we got some Curhan. We got some guys, Dogzilla. We're a diverse unit, I would say on that. We're a diverse unit. I want to thank, just as we are finishing up here today, I want a big thank you here to our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy today. You can click the link down below my section. The state of Washington has some limitations on this, so it is hard if you're in the state of Washington. They just, they're big brother about that stuff. But if you're outside the state and you're in a state that allows this, you can utilize Underdog Fantasy right now. They've got a great deal going on here, I think through October 4th, where you can use my code, and they'll normally just match you up to $100. But I think through October 4th, you get matched up to $500, $400, I think it is. So $400 or $500, a lot more of a match though that comes down if you want to go up to that amount. Use my code, click the link down in the description as well. One of the two, either way you want to go on that, and you can have me matched you up to that amount for use my code. So support the channel, get a little bit of extra dollar bill in your pocket. Just to let you guys know as well, I have run my general picks for this week. If you want to potentially piggyback on the back of it, my picks last week came through for me. So I did a $20 bet last week, came back out on $400 on the other side on the thing with it. Much like that, I'm doing that this week. So I've taken Josh Reynolds for getting more than 2.5 receptions this game tonight in against Green Bay, as he's been used pretty good by Detroit. So I think he's going to get there. I think Brian Branch is going to get more than 4 solo tackles. As I think he'll be on the football field more than ever with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson out. He'll be utilized a lot. Luke Musgrave has been worked by the Green Bay Packers early on, so I think 3 receptions is pretty easy money on that one. And Kyle Pitts, I could be just keep thinking Kyle Pitts can eventually click in when it's on. He's got a couple catches this year, so he's averaged about 3 catches a year. I'm just thinking that against Jacksonville, they will utilize him at least for 3. And then Josh Allen, I think it's easy money to say he'll be over 35.5 at passing attempts. They just don't run the ball with enough regularity for me. And going up against Miami and the amount of points Miami is going to score in this game, I think that really good chance you end up with over 35.5 passing attempts for Mr. Allen. So those are mine this week. Like I said, last week I did pretty well. Was able to get over the hump last week with my picks, and those were on a $20 bet. You got the $400 return on it, or $20 pick, $400 return. So not too shabby. We will be back in a couple hours here for members of the channel, 5:20 Pacific Standard Time. We're doing a members-only show as far as Thursday Night Football, and then I will be back with Brendan Nelson on the B&B show back on this channel at 8 o'clock tonight, as we will be doing a preview of this Panther matchup. I appreciate you guys for hanging in here throughout the stream. Please do hit that like button if you could for me. I would really appreciate that. It helps the channel, helps me grow, helps me show up on other search stuff and all that good things and whatnot. So do please hit that if you could for me. I would really appreciate it. And I want to thank Sir Gimp a lot. Got us cooked up just right here at the end with a nice little donation at the end. Thank you for doing that, Sir Gimp a lot, with a $10 donation. He says, thanks for all the content. Well, thank you, Sir Gimp a lot. That is a very kind donation that you drop at the end. Appreciate all the donos today on this. Garth Knight, Chris Cam, Danny McCormick. You guys are awesome. Phoebe Moore Seahawks. Appreciate you guys on that. I hope you guys know that I do really, really appreciate that. And all that support. You guys are always amazing. Seahawks Gaming says Patrick Kearney's the greatest defensive white player we ever had. Maybe Joe Nash might have something to say about that. Seahawks Gaming. Joe Nash, 55 career sacks, played 15 years. Hutchinson, Hall of Famer. I don't know. Maze Guru, you have a good night. We'll see you later on. Scam Blyven, have a good one. Holy Hand Grenade, hope you have a good one as well. Good to see you in the chat. Garth, thank you for all your donos today, man. I appreciate you on that. Isaac Wesley, go Hawks, watching from work B. Can't wait for Monday. Let's go 12s. We will be rocking on Monday. It's going to be a weird schedule, by the way, Monday. One more thing, just to let you guys know, we got announcement on the channel, last little announcement. I will be doing Bleacher Report spots here in the near future. So if you haven't downloaded the app, probably want to get that app downloaded, because we're going to be doing Sundays, and on Monday nights, it's going to work this way where we'll have the live stream show. I leave the live stream show once the game ends. I'm going to go over to Bleacher Report for a half hour. Then we'll come back over and do a post-game discussion over here after that point. So, that will be kind of how this is going to be going in the future on game days. Doesn't mean there'll be any less content to you guys or any less live streaming. I'm going to pop over there right as the show ends to do that half-hour spot over on Bleacher Report. So do get that downloaded, that app, because we will be, it looks like in the near future, throughout October at the very least, I will be bouncing over to Bleacher Report quite a bit. So thank you to Bleacher Report as well for extending the opportunity. Let me do a guest spot over there, and feels good. Feels like we're making hay this year. We're making some movements. Dogzilla, Evan White, Drew Locke, Tim DeCastro. Holy Angry. Oh, yes, he's streaming on Thursday. Yeah, we're just wrapping up, man. Just wrapping up. Getting a little bonus stream in. Beautiful. All right, we caught on up there, man. Sir Gipalot, thank you for that last bit of the donation coming in, brother. I salute you and appreciate you, sir. We will be back this evening very, very shortly. But until that time, I would hope I wouldn't have to remind you about this team and this potential season that is onward and upwards. The 2 wins in a row, looking to make it 3 in a row, looking to go to New York and put this nation on notice. The Seattle Seahawks are for real. We're not going away. Maybe you don't put us up at the top of the top right now. Maybe you don't have us up at the high water mark of some of those teams out there like the Niners or the Eagles, but we're here. We're going to fight all year long. We ain't going nowhere. We can put that kind of statement, write that out there for the rest of America to notice. There ain't another game going on. All eyeballs will be on us. We're going to answer the bell. We're going to put that firm stamp down. We're going to let the league know what time it is. I sure hope so. But until we get to that point, until we're to that day, hope I don't have to remind you. I'm going to do it anyway. Please do not you ever forget. Go Hawks.